Chapter 51. Yakushi Kabuto, Yakushi no. Hojiki Zangetsu didn't expect that he would meet these two people just by strolling around. Then, the pass to enter Konoha village is available. It has been said before that Yakushi no is a senior spy of Konoha. To be more precise, Yakushi no is a member of the Root. And he is an elite ninja of the intelligence department. Even though Yakushi no is no longer working for the Root, Hojiki Zangetsu believes that Yakushi no must have the ability to enter and leave Konoha freely. The thought flashed through his mind, and Hojiki Zangetsu looked at Yakushi Kabuto again. Yakushi Kabuto is now only a 6 or 7-year-old child, wearing round frame glasses given by Yakushi no and having the same gentle smile as Yakushi no. Who could have thought that this seemingly shy boy would become one of the initiators of the 4th Ninja World War in the future? He will master the complete Sage mode of Ryochi Cave and possess the top-level strength in the entire ninja world. Speaking of which, the current time point has reached the most critical and intense time of the 3rd Ninja World War. It may not be long before a boy of 6 or 7 years old like Yakushi Kabuto will go to the battlefield to become a battlefield doctor. And on the battlefield, Yakushi Kabuto will meet Orochimaru, and the gears of fate will begin to turn, and his tragedy is about to begin. So, should Yakushi Kabuto be his own man in advance? Let Yakushi Kabuto become his chess piece next to Orochimaru in the future. Hojiki Kangyu thought, looking at Yakushi Kabuto who was smiling happily in the distance, and made a decision in his heart. Such a useful chess piece, if not used, it would be a pity. Then, what about Yakushi no? Is this woman also worth using? Looking back at Yakushi no, Hojiki Kangyu thought in his heart. After this war, he will join Konoha as Uchiha Zangetsu, and control Uchiha Mikoto to control the Uchiha clan, and it is uncertain whether he will eventually become the new patriarch of the Uchiha clan. And if he wants the Uchiha clan to completely become a knife in his hand, a useful tool, then at least, Hojiki Zangetsu must ensure that the Uchiha clan will not be exterminated. Therefore, he and Jimura Danza, who are hostile to the Uchiha clan, are destined to have a period of open and secret struggles. Then, it seems to be a good decision to turn Yakushi no, a man of Shimura Danza, into his undercover. No one can say for sure whether Shimura Danza will eventually lose everything because of Yakushi no. I'm really lucky. I got 2 elite undercovers and capable people at once. Hojiki Zangetsu raised the corner of his mouth and was in a good mood. Besides, not only undercover, I can use Yakushi no to test my guess. Will the target given by the system be affected by the relationship between the host and the female characters in the ninja world? And if the target dies, will the ability obtained by the host disappear with it? Although it doesn't seem likely, it's no big deal to try it. Night. The moon is invisible in the night sky tonight, and it is completely blocked by the clouds in the sky. As the last light in the orphanage in the forest went out, the whole world seemed to fall into darkness. Hojiki Kangetsu wore a black hooded coat. The black clothes made him blend into the darkness better, and the whole person was like a ghost in the night. After entering the orphanage, Hojiki Kangetsu began to look for Yakushi no's room. This was easy. Hojiki Kangyu entered any room at random and used Sharingan to cast illusions on the people in the room, and easily got the answer he wanted. Soon, Hojiki Kangyu quietly came to the 2nd floor of the wooden building. He walked to the innermost room, which was the bedroom where Yakushi no lived. When he came to the door, Hojiki Kangyu raised the corner of his mouth. Then he grabbed his hand back and grabbed a wrist. Don't be impulsive. Hojiki Kangyu spoke in a low voice, turned around, and at the same time, his eyes had already opened the eternal Mangekyo. Sharingan. I am a bad guy. 3,000 illusions. He supported the limp body and looked at the woman who had fallen into his arms. Hojiki Kangyu picked her up with one hand, gently opened the door with the other hand, and took Yakushi no back to her room. You are really an elite of the Root. You are really sharp. You noticed my arrival at once. Hojiki Kangyu praised in his heart, walked to the bed and put Yakushi no on her bed. The room was dark at this time, but Mangekyo Sharingan could see through the darkness and clearly see Yakushi no, who was like a vegetable on the bed. Your spiritual power can have fun in the illusion space. Don't worry, I will be very gentle, I won't disturb others, and I won't make you feel uncomfortable after you wake up. The beautiful face made Kangyu's lower abdomen warm. He licked his lips and leaned down. More than an hour later, at some point, the clouds in the sky completely dissipated, and the bright moonlight fell on the world again, making the dark house clear. Kangyu took the initiative to open the entrance and exit of the 3,000 fantasy worlds, allowing Yakushi no's spiritual power to return. Yakushi no, who woke up faintly, was confused at first, and couldn't adapt to the transition from illusion to reality for a while. But in an instant, she was completely awake. Because Yakushi no saw a pair of scarlet eyes. Sharingan. Yakushi no subconsciously closed her eyes and twisted her body. However, she couldn't blink and couldn't move. The moment she saw the Sharingan, Yakushi no was hit by the magic shackle technique that Hojiki Zangetsu cast on her. This is an illusion that uses the unique visual illusion of Sharingan. The enemy captured by the spiritual world constructed by the caster will feel that his body is nailed by a huge iron nail and cannot move freely. Don't be nervous or excited, just listen to me. Hojiki Zangetsu spoke in a low voice, got off Yakushi no, and lifted Yakushi no's body up, letting her lean on the bed. This also allowed Yakushi no to see Hojiki Zangetsu's appearance clearly, but Hojiki Zangetsu didn't care. He didn't even hide his eternal Mangekyo. Sharingan. This also made Yakushi no angry and confused. These eyes, are Sharingan? She looked at the exquisite clover pattern in the eyes of Kitano Kangetsu, unable to determine. It's really surprising that the elite undercover agent known as the Walking Shrine Maiden would be such a kind-hearted person. However, it must be very hard to adopt so many orphans. But I guess you are happy no matter how hard it is, because you saved them, because each of them is your most lovely child. Kitano Kangetsu said, with a very nice smile on his face. However, in the eyes of Yakushi no, this is a devil's smile. This guy is threatening himself with the children. Chapter 52. Looking at Yakushi no's angry eyes, Kitano Kangyu knew that she understood what he said. Sure enough, it is comfortable to communicate with smart people. In this way, the next thing will be much simpler. Illusion or resolution. Kitano Kangyu solved the illusion of Yakushi no, allowing her to regain control of her body. After being able to control her body, the first thing Yakushi no did was not to attack Kitano Kangyu. Because after Kitano Kangyu's threat just now, Yakushi no knew that once she attacked Kitano Kangyu, if she could not kill her with one blow, the children in the orphanage would inevitably suffer. So Yakushi no could only secretly grit her teeth and pick up her clothes scattered on the ground and put them on. What exactly do you want to do? After putting on her clothes, Yakushi no looked at Kitano Kangyu and spoke, with no expression on her face. I don't want to do anything, but I want you. Kiden Kangyu also put on his clothes. He walked to Yakushi no, and gently stroked Yakushi no's face with one hand, his eyes full of affection. But immediately, the affection in Kiden Kangyu's eyes disappeared, and became cold. Don't think about betraying me. Under these eyes, you have no room for resistance. After saying that, Kiden Kangyu's eyes became gentle again, and he hugged Yakushi no in his arms. Be my man, okay? I really don't want to do anything to you, nor to the children. I have always been a kind person. Kind? Yakushi no was disdainful of Kiden Kangyu's words. She could see that this was a neurotic lunatic. But Yakushi no didn't dare to do it after all. Because this was a powerful lunatic. She was not sure to deal with this lunatic. She could only let Kiden Kangyu hold her in his arms expressionlessly, motionless. This made the smile of Hojiki Kangyu, who was on guard and ready to use Susanoo defense at any time, deepen. Yakushi no is really a kind person, who didn't take action even when testing the bottom line. He was so easily threatened by a group of orphans. No wonder he was so clearly controlled by Shimura Danza. In the original book. However, this time, Yakushi no is mine. He released Yakushi no from his arms and looked at her cold eyes, and Hojiki Kangyu directly launched an illusion. The next moment, Yakushi no's eyes became dull. Tell me the seal to pass through the Konoha barrier. Hojiki Kangyu spoke and got the answer he wanted from Yakushi no. In fact, Hojiki Kangyu could ask when Yakushi no was awake and continue to test Yakushi no's bottom line, but Hojiki Kangyu didn't do that. He didn't want to let Yakushi no know that he was going to Konoha. He also didn't want Yakushi no to know that he had no way to enter Konoha. As for the future, if Yakushi no could guess something because of something, that would be Yakushi no's ability. After getting the seal to enter Konoha, Kizuna Zangetsu once again solved Yakushi no's illusion. This made Yakushi no dazed for a moment. Then her face became even uglier. She knew that she had been under an illusion again. I should leave now. I really don't want to leave you. As he said this, Kangyu Kizuki's eyes became affectionate again. He lowered his head and kissed Yakushi no. Don't worry, I'll be back soon. After whispering in Yakushi no's ear, Kangyu Kizuki left directly using the body flicker technique. After Kangyu Kizuki left, the anger and murderous intent in Yakushi no's eyes burst out. But after taking a few deep breaths, she restrained these emotions. She just took off the blood-stained bedsheet expressionlessly while thinking about how to deal with Kangyu Kizuki. Looking at the high wall, Kizuna chose to enter through the door. At a side door of Konoha, 2 Chonin were guarding at this time. Although it was late at night, the 2 were very energetic. They had just changed shifts with the last batch of ninjas on guard. I really want to enter the battlefield. I don't know what the situation on the front line is like now. One of the young ninjas spoke with a complaining and worried tone. Protecting the village is as important as going to the front line to kill the enemy. Only when the village is safe can the companions who are fighting the enemy go all out without worry. Don't worry, we will definitely win this war. We are Konoha. Another middle-aged ninja spoke with a very confident tone, but it was not known whether he was speaking to his companions or to himself. I understand, senior, I will definitely protect Konoha. The young ninja put aside his complaining mood and spoke firmly. However, when he finished this sentence, Kizuna had appeared not far in front of the 2 and spoke faintly. You can't see me. After Zangetsu Hojiki finished speaking, the mind in his right eye moved, and a mysterious force acted on the consciousness of the 2 Chonin, causing them to be deeply hypnotized by Zangetsu Hojiki. Then, Zangetsu Hojiki passed the 2 and entered Konoha openly. After Zangetsu Hojiki entered Konoha, the 2 who were deeply hypnotized woke up. Well, let's protect Konoha together. The middle-aged ninja spoke, and his tone was also very firm. After Zangetsu Hojiki entered Konoha, he looked around and quickly sneaked towards the light in the distance. That was the residential area of Euro Konoha, and it was also the real Konoha village. The light was on, it was a street lamp. After sneaking in quietly, Zangetsu Hojiki entered a house at random, and used the Sharingan illusion to learn the location of the Hokage building and the location of the Uchiha clan from the villagers in the house. It's really inconvenient. As expected, getting an identity of the Uchiha clan is a very correct thing to do. Hojumi Zangetsu sighed inwardly, and then sneaked towards the direction of the Hokage building. If he remembered correctly, Uzumaki Koshinari seemed to be locked up there? It should be, right? Hojumi Zangetsu himself was not sure. Because in the Dam Minato biography, although a barrier of the activity area where Uzumaki Koshinari was restricted was given, there was no landmark building on it. He can only rely on luck, but in terms of luck, Hojumi Zangetsu still trusts himself. Chapter 53. Konoha is still quite big, much bigger than Kirigakure. But it's normal, after all, it is the most prosperous and richest of the 5 hidden villages. It was already late at night, everything was quiet, and people had fallen into a deep sleep. But at various key locations in Konoha, there were still ninjas standing guard and patrolling, guarding the village in the dark. Hojiki Kangyu sneaked towards the Hokage building, bypassing and avoiding more than 10 ninjas along the way. But Hojiki Kangyu had the water transformation technique, and it was still at night, so these ninjas couldn't find him at all. In a dark alley not far from the Hokage building, Hojiki Kangyu used the water transformation technique to flow towards the Konoha shinobi a few meters ahead of him. Under the cover of the dark night, even if the moonlight was good, the ninja couldn't find the water on the ground. Soon, Hojiki Kangyu bypassed the ninja and entered the Hokage building through the crack in the door. After entering the building, Hojiki Zangetsu continued to sneak. His goal was the sealing book. But Hojiki Zangetsu didn't think he could take the sealing book tonight. First, he didn't know where the sealing book was placed. How could such a thing that recorded many forbidden techniques of Konoha be placed casually? Do you really think that Naruto stole the sealing book? It was given by the 3rd generation. Second, even if he knew where the sealing book was placed, that place must be protected by many barriers. With Hojiki Zangetsu's current strength, he couldn't take the sealing book out of the barrier without confidence. So now he just needs to find out the location of the sealing techniques. I don't know if it's because he's confident that it won't be invaded by the enemy. There are no ninja patrols in the Hokage building, which makes it much easier for Hojiki Zangetsu to search. But after a search, Hojiki Zangetsu found nothing. This made him frown. The sealed book is so important, where else can it be placed if not in the Hokage building? A secret room for scrolls? Is there such a place in Konoha? Moreover, in the comics, when Naruto stole the sealed book, he clearly... Wait. Suddenly, Hojiki Zangetsu widened his eyes. He seemed to remember something, but the memory was a little vague. Scroll, Hokage building, Hokage. That's right. Who said that the only place related to Hokage is the Hokage building? There is another place. The mansion where the Hokage lives. No, to be precise, it should be the village chief's house of Konoha. The memory gradually cleared up in his mind, and Hojiki remembered where the Book of Seals should be. In the comics, Uzumaki Naruto sneaked into the home of the 3rd Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen in the middle of the night, but was discovered by the 3rd Hokage. Sarutobi Hiruzen even pretended to put on the Hokage robe in advance before coming out to catch Naruto. Uzumaki Naruto, who attempted to steal the scroll, directly defeated the 3rd Hokage with seduction, and then stole the Book of Seals in the room full of scrolls. Of course, this plot alone does not mean that the Book of Seals has been hidden in the 3rd Hokage's home. After all, the 3rd Hokage had long been suspicious of Mizuki, and had a certain expectation that Naruto would come to steal the Book of Seals, so it is very likely that the 3rd Hokage deliberately put the Book of Seals at home. However, if we add the evidence in the setting book, the Book of the Sealed, it can be said that the Book of the Sealed is actually hidden in the 3rd Hokage's house, and it may have been hidden in this house since its birth. If I remember correctly, there is a chapter in the Book of the Sealed called Thoroughly Exploring the Konoha Shinobi Village. In this chapter, the Book of the Sealed introduces many buildings and their functions in Konoha Village, and specifically mentions the special place of the Hokage's house. The Book of the Sealed introduces that the Hokage's house is the village chief's house that has been passed down from generation to generation since the 1st generation of Hokage, and it keeps many scrolls and confidential documents of the forbidden technique. In addition, the illustrations of the 3rd Hokage's house in the comics and the illustrations of the Hokage's house in the Book of the Sealed are exactly the same, which directly shows that the comics and the setting book are talking about the same place. Obviously, the 3rd Hokage's house is not the place of the Sarutobi clan, but the Hokage mansion that only the Hokage can live in. Not only the Book of Seals has been hidden here, but also many forbidden technique scrolls and confidential documents of Konoha village are hidden here, and guarded by successive Hokage. Maybe the room full of forbidden technique scrolls that Orochimaru sneaked into when he secretly learned reanimation jutsu and Yaki technique was also in this house. Thinking of this, Hojiki Kangyu couldn't help but smile. Fortunately, he is a senior Hokage fan, not only comics and anime, but also several setting collections. The reason why he didn't remember it before was entirely because he had traveled through time too long. 17 years was enough for some memories to talk in his mind. But those memories that were once impressive will soon be clearly remembered after being touched by a certain opportunity. Sarutobi Hiruzen's house? In that case, it would be very difficult to get the Book of Sealing completely. But there is a way. The safest way is to become a Hokage, or let someone else become a Hokage, so that you can openly view the Book of Sealing and learn all the forbidden techniques of power. But this method takes too long and requires a long time of planning. The risky way is to break in directly. But even with my eternal Mangekyo Sharingan, it is still too dangerous to confront the entire Konoha head-on. Not to mention the various magical ninjutsu of other Konoha ninjas, Sarutobi Hiruzen alone has the ability to kill me. After all, no one knows whether he has learned the Shikigami Fujin now. So, it's better to use another method. You can lure Sarutobi Hiruzen and the Konoha elites to another place, and I can take the opportunity to sneak in Sarutobi's residence, then not only can he get the Book of Seals, but also all the secrets inside. Then how can we lure the tiger away from the mountain? Use Shadow Clone? Or Nine Tails? Thinking of the Nine Tails rebellion in the original work, Hojumi Kanyu's heart lit up. That is indeed a good opportunity. Although it seems that there is still about a year before the Nine Tails rebellion, this time is not fixed. It's just controlling Nine Tails. Uchiha Obito's main Jikaya. Sharingan can do it, so can his eternal main Jikaya. Sharingan not do it. It's a very simple thing. It just so happens that this time when I sneaked into Konoha, I was originally planning to go and see Uzumaki Kushina. It's just right to find Nine Tails to try out the control of eternal main Jikaya. Sharingan on the tailed beasts. By the way, see if I can get any benefits from Uzumaki Kushina. Thinking of Uzumaki Kushina, Hojumi Zangetsu licked his lips subconsciously and a wicked smile appeared on his face. Chapter 54. Following the previous route and leaving the Hokage building, Hojumi Kangetsu began to look for where Uzumaki Kushina lived. I remember that in the manga of Minato, she should be confined to a building under the Hokage rock, and there was a barrier about 100 meters away from that building. But that was the time in Minato, and it has been a while since that time. After all, in Minato, the Third Ninja World War had not yet officially broken out, Tsunade had not yet left Konoha, and Uzumaki Kushina and Namikaze Minato had not yet completely confirmed their relationship. And now, Tsunade has left Konoha, and the Third Ninja World War has been going on for more than a year, and it will end completely in a few months at most. Therefore, Hojumi Kangetsu could not be sure whether Uzumaki Kushina was still in the area where she was confined before. This made Hojumi Kangetsu sigh inwardly. It would be great if he had a perception ninjutsu. However, there will definitely be one in the future. While thinking, Hojumi Kangetsu sneaked. Soon, he came to the area directly below the Hokage rock. As soon as he arrived here, Kitsune Zangetsu had a hunch that Uzumaki Kushina must be in a nearby building. Looking up at the three huge Hokage head statues above his head, Kitsune Zangetsu sneaked towards the position below the first Hokage Senju Hashirama statue. At a certain moment, Kitsune Zangetsu stopped. Looking at the roundhouse in the distance, he took out a mask from his coat and put it on his head, with the corners of his mouth raised under the mask. Found it, Uzumaki Kushina. Whoosh. Don't get close here. When Kitsune Zangetsu approached the round building, two Anbu ninjas wearing beige coats and masks appeared in front of him and stopped Kitsune Zangetsu from moving forward. These two people are the Anbu ninjas responsible for monitoring Uzumaki Kushina at all times, and judging from their clothes, they are at the level of squad leaders in Anbu. The two did not attack Hojumi Zangetsu immediately. They obviously thought that Hojumi Zangetsu, who was wearing a black hooded coat and a white fox mask, was also a member of Anbu, and did not think that this was an intruder who sneaked into Konoha. However, it was this carelessness that caused the two to be silently killed by Hojumi Zangetsu before they could make a sound. He opened the Sharingan with his eyes, and instantly used illusion on one of the Anbu members. At the same time, his body quickly started, and broke the neck of the other Anbu before he could react. Then, Hojumi Zangetsu broke the neck of the Anbu who was under the illusion, making the two completely lose their breath. After doing all this quickly, Hojumi Zangetsu continued to move forward with the bodies of the two Anbu team leaders. After entering the roundhouse building, he gently placed the bodies of the two on the ground. In a bedroom on the top of the building, Nine Tails, who was dozing with his eyes closed, opened his eyes and showed an interested look inside the sleeping Uzumaki Kushina. It clearly felt that the life breath of the two Konoha shinobi who were monitoring Uzumaki Kushina had just disappeared. Going up the spiral staircase, it wasn't long before Kizuki arrived in front of a room. This circular building didn't look small, but the interior space was almost occupied by the spiral staircase, and there weren't many rooms inside. Kizuki searched one room after another, and the one in front of him was the last one. If Uzumaki Kushina wasn't inside, it would mean that he was unlucky and late. However, Kizuki believed in his luck. He felt that Uzumaki Kushina was in this room. Thinking of this, Kizuki used the water technique to turn himself into a pool of water and entered the room through the crack in the door. When he entered the room, before he had time to look around the illusion to see if Uzumaki Kushina was in it, Kizuki, who had just recovered from the water state, quickly tied up a few chains. This surprised Kitano Kangyu slightly, but more excited. It seems that his luck is really good. Kitano Kangyu thought to himself. How dare you sneak into my bedroom? Those two guys are too unreliable. Did you lead them to other places? Uzumaki Kushina got up from the bed and looked at Kitano Kangyu tied up in the quilt. His tone was excited and he didn't realize what he would encounter next. It's really amazing. It's worthy of being Nine Tails Jinchuriki. Kitano Kangyu spoke, and his eyes that had been drooping suddenly widened. 3,000 fantasy worlds. In an instant, Uzumaki Kushina, who was looking at Kitano Kangyu with great interest, was hit the moment he saw Kitano Kangyu's eyes, and his mental power was pulled into the illusion of the 3,000 fantasy worlds. This made the Nine Tails in Uzumaki Kushina stunned, and then the whole fox was directly blown up. Such chakra, such eyes. The long-lost feeling reminded Nine Tails of Uchiha Madara, the hateful human who enslaved it with his eyes. It seems that you hate these eyes, but it is understandable. After all, in front of these eyes, you are no longer a high-ranking tailed beast, but just a pet beast. A sarcastic voice appeared. Nine Tails looked at the lurking in the air, and was furious at what he said. He couldn't help but roared. Damn guy, I'm going to kill you. After roaring, Nine Tails bared his teeth and rushed towards Zangetsu. However, just as it jumped, Zangetsu glared and Nine Tails lost control, and his body passed by Zangetsu and fell heavily to the ground. Its eyes also turned into the appearance of Zangetsu Eternal Mangekaya. Sharingan. It's so simple. In front of these eyes, Nine Tails has no room to resist. In this way, the future will be interesting. Hojumi Kangyu said to himself, then exited Uzumaki Kushina's consciousness space and returned to reality. Looking at Uzumaki Kushina who was lying on the ground, Hojumi Kangyu walked over, picked up Uzumaki Kushina and put him on the bed. The physique of the Uzumaki clan, strong vitality, various sealing techniques, what will I get? I hope you won't let me down. Looking at Uzumaki Kushina's beautiful face, Hojumi Kangyu's lower abdomen was hot and he said to himself. A euro. Chapter 55. With a shiver, the hard-working Hojumi Kangyu lay down. His consciousness entered the system and took a quick look. After confirming that the progress of the strategy for Uzumaki Kushina had reached 51%, he withdrew. After all, part of his mental power was now suppressing Nine Tails, and part of his mental power was at the entrance and exit of the 3000 illusions. It was too scattered. If he was immersed in the system space, if something unexpected happened, it would be difficult to react for a while. Then, he got up and put on his clothes. I am so depraved. What's the difference between me and being born like this? Hojumi Kangyu condemned himself in his heart. He is a saint now. I can't help it. I was forced to do it. I didn't want to do it, but I'm really sorry. Alas. People always do this, looking for excuses for their mistakes, and Kitano Kangyu is no exception. Such behavior is obviously useless to the victim. What has happened cannot be reversed, but it can make the perpetrator feel better. At least after condemning himself, Kangyu felt much better. 23 He glanced at Uzumaki Kushina in the 3000 fantasy worlds, and then entered Uzumaki Kushina's consciousness space and released the control over Nine Tails. Boom. The terrible breath rushed into the sky. Nine Tails' vertical pupils were already scarlet, and now they were even more bloodthirsty and emitting murderous light. But it just stared at Kitano Kangyu and did not rush over uncontrollably. As for the reason, it was naturally simple. Nine Tails knew that he was not Kitano Kangyu's opponent. The other party's eyes could easily control it. Its power was even stronger than Uchiha Madara's eyes. Nine Tails believed that as long as it moved, it would lose control of its body again. You are really smart. I like to talk to smart people. Hojiki nodded with satisfaction. He liked Nine Tails' sense of the times. And Nine Tails was silent. It didn't want to talk. It couldn't be beaten, so there was nothing to say. I wanted to say something to you, such a sage of six paths. Seeing that you are so uninterested, I won't say anything. After Hojiki finished speaking, Nine Tails' eyes widened. However, before it could say anything, Hojiki spoke again. By the way, don't tell anyone any of my information. Since I know the secret of Sage of Six Paths, I naturally know the relationship between Ten Tails and the Nine-Tailed Beasts, and I know how to completely kill you. As he spoke, Hojiki Zanjutsu's tone was as cold as frost, and his eternal Mangekaya Sharingan also revealed murderous intent. Looking at Hojiki Zanjutsu's eyes, Nine Tails was silent, but his heart was horrified. If the Sage of Six Paths might be a deception of this mysterious guy, then the relationship between their Nine-Tailed Beasts and Ten Tails is a secret that people in this world should not know. So, what this person said is very credible. He might really have the ability to kill himself. Thinking of this possibility, Nine Tails was horrified. Although he had been enslaved, now sealed in a human body, and even killed by someone, Nine Tails had never been afraid, because no matter what, it would not really die. It would be resurrected in a few years or even a dozen years. But now, this person could really kill it completely. Who are you and what do you know? Nine Tails couldn't help asking, but Hojiki Zangetsu didn't answer, but just smiled mysteriously, left a name and left Uzumaki Kushina's consciousness space, leaving Nine Tails. Tails' eyes widened in Uzumaki Kushina's consciousness. After leaving Uzumaki Kushina's consciousness, looking at Uzumaki Kushina lying on the bed with a flushed face, Hojumi Kangyu came to her side and gently stroked Uzumaki Kushina's face with his hand. What a pity, maybe you will die soon. Don't blame me for not saving you. I really don't have time to conquer you, and I can't do anything about it. But there is a saying that it takes 10 years to build a relationship and 100 years to sleep on the same pillow. Considering our relationship, I can promise you that I will let Namikaze Minato die comfortably. After saying this in his heart, Hojumi Kangyu turned and left. After he left Konoha, he unlocked the 3000 fantasy worlds for Uzumaki Kushina. Konoha. Uzumaki Kushina woke up faintly and was in a trance. But soon, she woke up. Ah! The scream broke the tranquility of the dark night and attracted the attention of the patrolling ninjas. Suddenly, one by one, the ninjas quickly jumped forward in the direction of Uzumaki Kushina. Soon, more than a dozen ninjas came to the circular building. Several ninjas rushed in quickly, and the remaining few surrounded the building and watched the building closely. After these ninjas entered the building, they saw the two killed by Hojumi Kangyu. The captain of the Anbu team, everyone was shocked and rushed to Uzumaki Kushina's room quickly. Although they didn't know Uzumaki Kushina's specific identity, the third Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen had ordered them to protect Uzumaki Kushina at all costs. When the first ninja wanted to rush into Uzumaki Kushina's room, he found that the door of the room was blocked, and Uzumaki Kushina's voice came from inside. "Don't come in." Uzumaki Kushina yelled in the room. She was already in tears, because when she woke up, she found that she was naked, and there was still, in her body. This made Uzumaki Kushina desperate and completely collapsed. She would never allow others to see her like this now, and she couldn't let others know that she. But how to face Minato in the future? At this moment, Uzumaki Kushina was so upset that she even wanted to die. But this was not the most devastating thing. 017 The most devastating thing for Uzumaki Kushina collapsed because she found out she was pregnant 2 months later. Kyuzen could guess Uzumaki Kushina's collapse, but he didn't care. It was useless for him to care anyway. After leaving Konoha, Kizuki didn't go to the orphanage to find Yakushi no immediately. But he moved quickly, preparing to find a secret place to receive the reward for the strategy for Uzumaki Kushina. After a long journey, Kizuki came to a deserted forest. He came to a big tree and his consciousness entered the system space. Get the reward. Ding. Congratulations to the host for extracting the ability from Uzumaki Kushina, the sealing technique. Seeing this reward, Wei Denjio was disappointed. Is my luck starting to change from good to bad? He couldn't help thinking so. But soon, the worry on Gui Denkangyu's face disappeared, and the corners of his mouth rose. Sure enough, the lucky ones are the lucky ones. How could they become unlucky so easily? 8-sign seal, 4-symbol seal, fire sealing seal. Tisk tisk tisk, I didn't expect Uzumaki Kushina to know so many sealing techniques. But think about it, we know from the Minato legend that Namikaze Minato's sealing techniques were taught by Uzumaki Kushina. Gu Denkangyu muttered to himself, and then carefully absorbed the large number of sealing techniques in his mind. Chapter 56. The abilities obtained from the system do not need to be learned. After receiving the reward, Zangetsu Hoshomi received all the sealing techniques mastered by Uzumaki Kushina, and his level was the same as Uzumaki Kushina. This made Zangetsu Hoshomi feel a little guilty. Or, save Uzumaki Kushina? Zangetsu Hoshomi would never admit that his change of mind was due to his lust for beauty. Even though Uzumaki Kushina was fragrant and soft. Let's see what happens. Let's see if Zangetsu Hoshomi can kill Namikaze Minato, who has been identified as a rival in love, and if he can stop Uchiha Obito who wants to take revenge on Konoha. In short, let's take it one step at a time. Let's try to kill Namikaze Minato first. Zangetsu Hoshomi is very envious of his Flying Thunder God technique. Thinking of Flying Thunder God technique, Zangetsu's eyes are full of greed. That's Flying Thunder God, one of the best ninjutsu in Hokage, and it created 2 super strong men, the fastest ninja in the ninja world Senjo Tobirama and Yellow Flash Namikaze Minato. This technique can be called an attack and defense technique that can be used for both offense and defense. If Namikaze Minato can master the Flying Thunder God technique, then Kizuki will be the next Yellow Flash. A few days later, Zangetsu returned to the battlefield of Tsunade village. It has been less than a month since he left here, and the battlefield of Kirigakure has undergone tremendous changes. The decisive battle between the two sides has officially started, and the fighting has become fierce. Every day, a large number of ninjas die here, and every day, a large number of ninjas are pulled into the field hospital. However, this situation will not last long. Iwagakure has started the process to negotiate with Konoha. Once the two sides have a thorough peace talk and the ninjas on the Iwagakure front come to support, Kirigakure will definitely lose. Kirigakure also knew this situation, so Kirigakure's offensive became more fierce, and it was determined to defeat Ya before the end of the war on the Iwagakure front. But this was difficult, because in Kirigakure's front, there was a ninja who had already shaken the ninja world. He was invincible on the battlefield and no one could defeat him. He greatly restrained Kirigakure's attack and caused Kirigakure difficult to solve troubles. That person was naturally the future 4th Hokage Namikaze Minato. In the familiar forest, Kirigakure Kangyu moved towards the camp of Konoha. This was no longer the main battlefield. The fight between Kirigakure ninjas and Konoha shinobi had moved to another place, where thousands of ninjas from both sides were stockpiled. Both sides had been fighting each other, and it was a terrible meat grinder. As for this forest, although there were also battles, it was more like a small fight in comparison. But this does not mean that it is safe here. Somewhere in the forest, 3 young ninjas from Konoha half knelt on the ground, looking at the Kirigakure ninjas in front of them, and they were terrified. No, we are surrounded. Among them, Shiranui Genma, who was holding a senbon, spoke to his 2 companions with a bitter tone. How could it be? Are those the 7 ninja swordsmen of Kirigakure? Looking at the 7 ninjas opposite, Subawai swallowed her saliva and felt desperate. I'm afraid we can't escape like this. Might Dai was also desperate. The 3 of them were just Chonin, while the 7 ninja swordsmen were all elite JA. Nin of Kirigakure. 3 Chonin against 7 elite JA. Nin. This time, I'm afraid they will die. I didn't expect that the kids from other villages also knew us. We are quite famous. Hearing the conversation between the 3 might guys, Biwachozo, who was holding a beheading sword among the 7 ninja swordsmen, spoke up. What should we do? We can't beat those guys. Might Guy was very unwilling to hear what Shiranui Genma said. He hadn't defeated Kakashi yet, was he going to die here? No, I can't die here, I can't just give up like this. Thinking in his heart, Might Guy suppressed the fear in his heart and was about to stand up and fight. But before he stood up, Two sounds of breaking through the air were heard. Then, a green light and a black shadow appeared, and landed in front of Might Guy and the other two. Finally caught up. Might Guy, wrapped in green light, spoke, his tone full of relief. Almost, his son might have died here. Fortunately, the information that the 7 ninja swordsmen sneaked into the forest and planned to go around and cut off the Konoha supply station was forced out of the prisoners by the interrogation team. After he got the news, he ran to support with all his strength, and finally arrived at this last moment. The idea flashed through his mind, and Might Guy looked at the ninja who appeared with him. This is a ninja wearing a black hooded coat and a fox mask. Although he can't see his face clearly and doesn't see his forehead protector, Might is still sure that he is a Konoha shinobi. As for the reason, because only ninjas of the Uchiha clan have Sharingan. And it's a pair of 3 Magatama Sharingan. I just don't know why this Uchiha is dressed like an Anbu. This Uchiha dressed like an Anbu is naturally Kitsune Kangyu. When he saw Might Guy and the other two were surrounded by the 7 ninja swordsmen, his eyes lit up and he knew that it would be easier for him to integrate into Konoha. After all, with the 7 ninja swordsmen as a token of his loyalty, who would doubt his identity? Dad, what are you doing here as a genin? Looking at Might Guy who was blocking his way, Might Guy opened his eyes wide and spoke in an anxious tone. Stop talking, run away quickly, I'll buy time. Might Guy spoke without looking back. Hearing this, Might Guy became even more anxious. He raised his voice and said, let's run away together. Dad, the other side is J.A. Nin, and they are the 7 ninja swordsmen. You can't stop them with just the 4 horses. I have the death gate, 8 inner gates formation. Might Guy said, his tone heavy but firm. But that move. Self-restraint. Might Guy interrupted what Might Guy was about to say. He turned his head and faced Might Guy sideways, looking at his son with a shocked face. Now is the time, to protect the most important thing to you even if you die. Death gate, Tian. 8 inner gates formation, open. Boom. The red chakra suddenly erupted, and a wave blew the clothes of the 4 people around Might Guy, Gui Dengkengyu, and others. I thought it would be a bit difficult to kill them all, Zhao Zhao, but now it seems that the 7 ninja swordsmen will die. When Hojiki Zangetsu saw Might Guy open the death gate, he spoke. What he said surprised Might Guy, and the other 4. VR. Might Guy hesitated to speak, and felt confused for a moment. It can be seen that this is a very powerful forbidden technique, but since it is a forbidden technique, there must be a price, so let's get rid of these 7 guys as soon as possible. Kirigakure Zangetsu spoke. Of course he would not tell Might Guy that he knew the price of opening the death gate of 8 inner gates was death, but he pretended not to know. After all, Might Guy is definitely a righteous Konoha loyalist. Even if Kirigakure Zangetsu saved his life now, if Kirigakure Zangetsu's actions were exposed one day, there is no doubt that Might Guy would definitely use the death gate saved today on Kirigakure Zangetsu. So, let Might Guy die. It's better to die. Might Guy died, and the credit for killing Kirigakure 7 ninja swordsmen would all belong to Kirigakure Zangetsu. Chapter 57. Might Guy was stunned again by Kazuki's words, but he didn't say anything. He couldn't tell others that the price of his forbidden technique was death. The bitterness in his heart flashed by, and Might Guy immediately put aside his distracting thoughts. As the unknown Uchiha said, forbidden techniques all have to pay a price, and the price of the death gate is not only death, but also death soon. He doesn't have much time left to live. What he should do now is to do his best to buy time for the children to escape while he is still alive. As for the unknown Uchiha's words about killing the 7 ninja swordsmen, Might Guy didn't take it to heart. Instead, he thought that he said this to anger the 7 ninja swordsmen and let the 7 ninja swordsmen focus on the 2 people, so that Guy and the others can escape better. How arrogant. He actually said he would kill us all. He really doesn't take us seriously. Are all the ninjas in Konoha so blind and ignorant? Biwachozo spoke with a gloomy face, feeling that he was underestimated by Hojiki Zangetsu. Then let them see the value of the 7 genin swordsmen. It just so happens that my Rega has become excited. It told me that it craves blood, especially Uchiha's blood. Kuriko Rega also spoke, looking into Hojiki Zangetsu's eyes, which were already full of excitement, revealing a cruel smile. My beheading sword is also craving blood. That Uchiha belongs to me. 913 Biwachozo spoke, and he was also excited. Not only Kuroki Rega and Biwachozo, but also Zigwashin Puffer Ghost's eyes were full of light. If he could get the pair of 3 Magatama Sharingan, he would definitely get a lot of rewards from the village, and even the position of Anbu minister. However, at this time, the 7 ninja swordsmen did not know what kind of nightmare they would encounter next. They had no idea what kind of terrible monsters the enemies they were facing were. It seems that you want to kill me, but Uchiha's eyes, how can a group of villains spy on it? Today, you all die in these eyes, right? Kuroki Rega's and the other two's conversation, Hojiki Kangetsu naturally heard it. As he spoke, he directly launched an illusion on Kuroki Rega who was staring at his eyes. The next moment, Hojiki Kangetsu began to seal and spit out. Fire Stylia Great Fireball Technique. A huge great fireball suddenly appeared, whistling towards the 10 ninja swordsmen. And Might Guy, under the cover of the flames, said to Might Guy and the other two, run away, and rushed out instantly. On the other side, the 7 ninja swordsmen also took action instantly. They quickly jumped away from where they were, avoiding the attack of the great fireball. Only Kuroki Rega was stunned in place. He was hit by the illusion of Kizuna Zangetsu, but no one helped him to solve the illusion. It was Biwachozo who noticed it and took action to pull Kuroki Riga, so that Kuroki Riga was not drowned in the Minister of Fire. However, when the 7 ninja swordsmen jumped away, a red figure suddenly shot out from the fireball, like a red light, and instantly came in front of Kurari Kushimaru and kicked him hard. Kurari Kushimaru didn't expect Might Dai to pass through the great fireball. Facing this kick, he had no time to dodge and could only bear it. However, Kurisan Kushimaru had no idea how terrifying Might Dai was in the 8 inner gates formation, and how powerful Might Dai's kick was. The moment he was kicked, his wrist that was used to block the kick was directly broken, and his body flew out like a cannonball, hitting the ground heavily, and blood spurted out of his mouth, obviously seriously injured. At this moment, the other 7 ninja swordsmen were shocked, and then horrified, but they didn't have time to think about it. Might Dai attacked again. And Kizuna Zangetsu was not idle either. After using a great fireball, he also rushed out with a knife, and almost instantly came to the side of Kuroki Riga, and stabbed Kuroki Riga with the kunao in his hand puff. At the critical moment, Biwachozo once again pulled Kuroki Riga, so that Kuroki Riga was only scratched on the back. The severe pain in his back also woke up Kuroki Riga from the illusion. He looked at Hojiki Zangetsu, who was already fighting with Biwachozo, and rushed out angrily. Not only Kuroki Riga, but also Zigushin Puffer Ghost surrounded Hojiki Zangetsu. His goal was clear, which was to get Hojiki Zanjutsu's Sharingan. On the other side, Tsunade, Mori Shinpeki, and the last unknown ninja sword 7 also began to besiege Might Dai. This was destined to be an unfair duel. Even though Kurishan Kushimaru was almost kicked by Might Dai because of carelessness and being caught off guard, the situation on the field was still 6 against 2. However, the reality was that the smaller side severely suppressed the larger side. Might Dai was suppressing Tsunade and the other 3, and Hojiki Zangetsu also had the upper hand in the duel with Biwachozo and the other 3. And this is the case when Zangetsu Kizuki did not use the Eternal Mangekaya Sharingan. Once Zangetsu Kizuki used the Eternal Mangekaya Sharingan, he would not only have a slight advantage over Biwachozo and the other 2, but would completely crush them, killing them until they were defeated and abandoned. But Zangetsu Kizuki did not intend to expose the Eternal Mangekaya Sharingan, and he did not want Konoha to know about these eyes so soon. After all, Zangetsu Kizuki still had to deal with Namikaze Minato. If Namikaze Minato knew that Zangetsu Kizuki had the Mangekaya Sharingan, the risk of Zangetsu Kizuki failing to deal with Namikaze Minato would increase a lot. So in this battle, Zangetsu Kizuki could not use the power of the Mangekaya Sharingan in front of the 3 Might guys. Of course, there was no need to use it. Because Zangetsu Kizuki knew that it would not be long before only the 3 genin swordsmen would be left among the 7 ninja swordsmen, and the remaining 4 would be killed quickly by Go-Today. And the 3 ninja swordsmen who survived would also be Might Dai's heroic spirit shocked him and made him lose confidence, feel fear, and would flee without hesitation. As for himself, he only needed to use Biwachozo and the other 2 to train his close combat ability, and then wait for merit. However, he couldn't just lie down like that. Let's try to kill one of the 3 ninja swordsmen in the siege without using Mangekaya Sharingan. It can also be regarded as a tribute to Might Dai who is about to die. Kitten Kangyu thought, and his speed of attack became faster, and he went all out directly. His body is the enhanced Uchiha bloodline, the person who is closest to Indra's physique. Even if he doesn't use Eternal Mangekaya Sharingan, he is still a top ninja in the 3 Tomo Sharingan state. Going all out at this time made Biwachozo and the other 2 feel a lot of pressure, and they were also horrified. At a certain moment, Might Dai kicked the grass-wielding man and broke his ribs. When he flew backwards, Kizuna Zangetsu seized the opportunity and instantly launched the Sharingan illusion when Kuroki Riga looked at him. Then he sent the kunao in his hand into Kuroki Riga's lower abdomen and kicked Kuroki Riga away. Chapter 58. In a blink of an eye, the 7 ninja swordsmen lost 2 more fighters. This shocked the remaining 4. They never expected this result. They were just chasing 3 Konoha brats, and the one who came to support them was a funny thick-browed green frog wearing a green tights and a 3 Magadama Uchiha like Enbu. Why, in such a short time, they lost 2 companions. Okay, let the fire of youth burn fiercely. Seeing that Hojiki Kangyu fought 1 against 3 and killed one of them, Might Dai was completely excited. He shouted, and the speed of his attack became faster and stronger. The whole person was like a demon wrapped in red chakra. If it weren't for the green tights, he would be a demon. After severely injuring Kuroki Riga, Hojiki Kangyu danced again in the siege of Biwachozo and Zigushin Puffer Demon. With the dynamic perspective and insight of Sharingan pervert, as well as his own pervert physique, he seemed to be at ease even when surrounded, and even looked a little elegant. This made Shiranui Genma and Xiaobawai on the side stunned. Guy, uncle, and that senior are so powerful. Xiaobawai couldn't help but speak, her tone full of shock and excitement. Shiranui Genma couldn't help but nod, and there was no despair in his eyes just now. Dad, he has always been very powerful, I am the most powerful person. Might Guy said, tears streaming down his face. Because only he knew that it would not be long before he would have no father. His father was going to die. Youth never ends. At a certain moment, Might Dai roared, and the veins on his head were exposed, and the red steam became thicker, making him blurred in the mist. He suddenly burst into speed, and the whole person was like a ray of light. He came to the side of Mori Shinpeki with a speed as if teleporting and kicked Ri Shinpeki, who was resisting, to death with 1 kick. However, this kick also made Might Dai suffer great pain and paid a heavy price. One of his leg bones was broken by this kick. Hot blood will never dry up. Another kick was thrown. This kick was also the last kick of Might Dai's life, and his glory before his death. His hot blood will completely evaporate after this kick. Life will also dissipate with the blood-colored steam. And this last kick did not disappoint Might Dai. He kicked another one of the 7 ninja swordsmen to death and killed all 7 ninja swordsmen who besieged him. This broke the hearts of Biwajozo and Ziguishin Puffer Kita. Fear occupied their hearts and made them completely lose their fighting spirit. Escape, without any hesitation, the two turned around and fled separately. They didn't want to die here, and they didn't want to die like this. You can't escape. Kizuki shouted angrily and chased after Biwajozo. The kunao in his hand scratched a long mark on Biwajozo's back, which made Biwajozo even more frightened. He staggered, his steps were unstable, and he almost fell to the ground. But Biwajozo still ran desperately, without the courage to fight back. After running hundreds of meters, Kizuki stabbed the kunao in his hand into Biwajozo's heart, ending Biwajozo's life completely. After killing Biwajozo, Kizuki quickly went back to the direction of Might Guy and the other two, and soon, he returned to the side of Might and the other two. At this time, they were surrounding Might Dai's body on the ground. Might Guy was crying loudly, and Xiaobai and Shiranui Genma also bowed their heads and shed tears. It. Gui Dengkingyu pretended to be surprised, his tone full of disbelief. Dad is dead, this is the price of 8 inner gates formation. Might Guy sobbed and opened his mouth, looking at Might Dai who looked like he was burnt, feeling extremely heartbroken. Hojiki Kangyu was silent. He looked at the crying Might Guy and the dead Might Dai, but his heart did not fluctuate. He even had dark thoughts, wondering whether he should take this opportunity to kill Might Guy here. After all, Might Guy would also be a die-hard Konoha ninja, and his 8 inner gates formation was even stronger than Might Dai. Once Might Guy knew his darkness in the future, would he become the one kicked by Night Guy? Hojiki Kangyu thought to himself, but was still hesitant and had not made up his mind. After all, Might Guy was still young, only 14 years old, and he was not a threat to Hojiki Kangyu at all. And when Might Guy could use Night Guy, he should be able to deal with Might Guy easily, right? And after such a long time, would there be a chance to turn Might Guy into his own chess piece? Hojiki Kangyu thought to himself, and his heart began to darken. Or, Guy. Forget it. The darkness in Hojiki Kangyu's heart instantly dissipated. Isn't he just a Might Guy? Even if he is very powerful in the future, even if he can fight against 6 paths in the future, Hojiki Kangyu still doesn't believe that he will be worse than Might Guy. Don't you think so, Namikaze Minato who came late? Looking at Namikaze Minato and Hotaki Kakashi who ran over quickly, Hojiki Kangyu thought in his heart. Soon, the two came to Hojiki Kangyu and the other 4. Senior Dai. Namikaze Minato looked at Might Dai on the ground with a gloomy expression. He is very strong. He killed 4 of the 7 ninja swordsmen by himself and completely defeated them. He used his life to implement his own ninja way. Kizuki looked at Might Dai and spoke. After he finished speaking, he raised his head and looked at Namikaze Minato. This was the first time he met Namikaze Minato. He had to say that this rival was really handsome and charming, just a little worse than him. 0. Who is your excellency? Namikaze Minato looked at Kizuki and looked at Kizuki's Sharingan with a puzzled tone. There should be no members of the Uchiha clan here. They should all be on the main battlefield. My name is Uchiha Zangetsu. I heard my wife mention you, Namikaze Minato, a very powerful ninja. Kizuki took off his mask and Namikaze Minato suddenly realized what Kizuki said. Uchiha Zangetsu, he was naturally familiar with this person, because Yudin Koharu, Elder Mitokato Homura and Mrs. Uchiha Mikoto had some unpleasantness about Uchiha Zangetsu. As for the reason, it was naturally that this Uchiha genius hidden by Uchiha Fugaku was too free, and did not listen to the orders of Elder Yudin Koharu at all, acting alone and not reporting to the camp. Unexpectedly, he met him here. It happened that he could bring him back to the camp this time. Uchiha Zangetsu's words also made Hotaki Kakashi, who was silently watching Might Guy on the side, look over. Looking at the Sharingan of Hojiki Zangetsu, he was a little nervous and a little sad for a while. He thought of his former teammate again, and I gave the Sharingan to his old friend, Omichiba Daisho. Let's go back to the camp first. Namikaze Minato sighed as he looked at Might Dai's body. While he was shocked and admired by Might Dai's record, he couldn't help but feel sorry. The 7 ninja swordsmen who were able to kill 4 Kirigakure, Might Dai's strength can be imagined. And such a strong man, while creating brilliant results, also paid the price of his life, which is really too regrettable. Chapter 59. Konoha Camp. After a day of fighting, everyone looked a little tired. And almost everyone was silent. The war brought too many deaths. The comrades who were fighting side by side in the last second might die in front of them in the next second. This made everyone feel sad. Hojiki Zangetsu followed Namikaze Minato into the camp and headed for the Uchiha clan area. Along the way, because of Hojiki Zangetsu's super high appearance and Namikaze Minato's super high popularity, it attracted a lot of attention. But it was just attention. Even the patrol ninjas in the camp would not doubt Hojiki Zangetsu's unfamiliar face. After all, he came with Namikaze Minato. This is the stationed area of Ayuro the Uchiha clan, and the innermost one is Mrs. Mikoto's tent. Namikaze Minato spoke to Hojiki Zangetsu with a gentle smile on his face. 697 What a gentle and handsome person. Thank you, Minato Sr. Hojiki Zangetsu politely thanked him. Although he was always thinking about how to kill Namikaze Minato, he was still very polite on the surface. You're welcome. We are all Konoha shinobi. Namikaze Minato smiled and waved his hand, then left. He still had to report the matter of the 7 ninja swordsmen to Yudin Koharu and Mito Kato Homura. After watching Namikaze Minato leave, Hojiki Zangetsu retracted his gaze. He looked at the tents around and walked towards the innermost one. Soon, Hojiki Zangetsu came to the tent. He lifted the curtain and walked in, and saw Uchiha Mikoto inside at a glance. This made Hojiki Zangetsu's eyes light up. And Uchiha Mikoto noticed someone coming in, looked up, and saw that the person was Hojiki Zangetsu, and stood up with a surprised expression on his face. The two are now lovers. In Uchiha Mikoto's heart, Kangya Hojiki is her lover. After not seeing each other for a long time, she is naturally happy to meet again. Why are you here? But Uchiha Mikoto immediately became reserved and tried not to show her joy so obviously. She was still tangled in her heart. After all, Kangya Hojiki was the one who killed her husband Uchiha Fugaku. The system item AI Wahui locked the attack level, but it would not tamper with Uchiha Mikoto's memory, which made Uchiha Mikoto's feelings for Kangya Hojiki very complicated. Mikoto. Kangya Hojiki walked over and gently embraced Uchiha Mikoto in his arms, and whispered in Uchiha Mikoto's ear, I miss you, so I came. As soon as these words came out, Uchiha Mikoto's face turned red, and the complex emotions in her heart were only warmth and joy. But immediately, Uchiha Mikoto's face turned red from shy pink. Because 2 dishonest hands were already placed on her soft spot. Don't do it here, someone could come in here at any time. She spoke, looking at the position of the door curtain, feeling shy and worried at the same time. Hearing this, Kitten Kangyu suppressed her desire and put her hands back to Uchiha Mikoto's slender waist. It was really too dangerous here, surrounded by Uchiha clan members, not to mention that someone could come to Uchiha Mikoto at any time, even if there was no one. Once the two of them were intimate, the sounds that could not be restrained would be heard by others. I will not leave now. I will accompany you until the end of this war, accompany you back to Konoha, accompany you for the rest of your life. Hojiki Kangyu gazed at Uchiha Mikoto's eyes affectionately, and said that he would accompany her for the rest of his life. Anyway, men's mouths are deceitful, and promises in love are free. Let's coax Uchiha Mikoto's strategy progress first. Sure enough, after hearing Hojiki Kangyu say this, Uchiha Mikoto could no longer hide her happiness, but she did not speak, but nodded gently. Seeing that the strategy level in the system had increased a little bit, Hojiki Kangyu's eyes became more affectionate. I love you, Mikoto. He spoke, and this sentence at this moment was sincere. As for after this moment, that's another way of saying it. If you want to go back to Konoha, you need a reasonable identity. Uchiha Mikoto spoke, quickly changed the subject. Because she was afraid that if she continued like this, she would not be able to help but mess around with Hojiki Kangyu here. So what identity does Mikoto plan to give me? Hojiki Kangyu looked at Uchiha Mikoto and smiled. He believed that Uchiha Mikoto had been prepared for this kind of thing. Your identity is a member of the Uchiha clan who is wandering outside, a child born after the Uchiha clan made a mistake. He himself doesn't know your existence. You grew up with your mother, but your mother died shortly after you were born. Your father had an accident while performing a mission 10 years ago. Before he died, he told me and Fugaku about it, hoping that I could find your mother and give her some money as compensation. According to the information provided by your father, we found the village where your mother was, but found that your mother had passed away, leaving you alone. Because of the fate of the ninja, and you didn't open the Sharingan at that time, we didn't take you back to Konoha, but just left you some money and practice scrolls and left. Until a year ago, we found that you had activated the 3-Tomo Sharingan, and were about to take you back to Konoha, but the war happened to break out, so we asked you to come to my side to protect me. Uchiha Mikoto said, looking at Hojiki with some caution, worried that such a life experience would make Hojiki unhappy. But such a life experience can reasonably explain why the Uchiha clan suddenly had a 17-year-old 3-Magatama genius. This 17-year-old genius that no one in the Uchiha clan knew about. However, Hojiki's mouth corners were already raised high. This life experience was simply too suitable for him, and it had a great overlap with the one he had woven for Nagato Konan, and it could almost be perfectly applied. Mikoto is so smart. With this life experience, I can be with you legitimately. 5.7 Now, no one can stop us from being together. Hojiki Kangyu said, kissing Uchiha Mikoto passionately. This kiss almost made Hojiki Kangyu unable to hold back his anger. He looked at Uchiha Mikoto's beautiful face and licked his lips. It has been a long time since I last got close to Mikoto. Unfortunately, now is really not the right time. And as Uchiha Mikoto's performance on the battlefield became more and more outstanding, and her position in this war became higher and higher, she had no chance to go out on missions alone, and it was difficult for the two to use the opportunity of performing missions to communicate deeply as before. But it doesn't matter, opportunities are created by people, and there are always opportunities. Hojiki Kangyu didn't believe that he couldn't find a chance to find a safe place to communicate with Uchiha Mikoto. Chapter 60. After all, Hojiki Zangetsu still didn't find a chance to have a deep exchange with Uchiha Mikoto, and could only satisfy his desire to fight. There was no other way, as it was now the moment of the decisive battle between Konoha and Mist Shinobi. Uchiha Mikoto, who possessed the powerful combat power of Mangekyo Sharingan, and Uchiha Zangetsu, an elite who could kill 2 people in the siege of 3 ninja swordsmen 7, how could Yuta and Koharu let them perform those unimportant tasks alone? They must follow the large force and contribute in the direct confrontation with Kirigakure. Boom. Ta ta ta. Thunder roared in the sky, and heavy rain poured down, soaking all the people on the ground. It also made the blood on the ground quickly mix with the rain and dye the earth red. Puff puff puff. Thousands of ninjas fought on the muddy ground, and lives died here one after another. I don't know whose parents, whose couples, and whose children were buried here. In the melee, Hoseki Kangyu kept killing the mist shinobi ninjas around him. He was holding a katana and killing crazily on the battlefield. His movements were clean and elegant just like a fairy flying in the flowers of Shizong. And beside Hoseki Kangyu were Uchiha Mikoto and Uchiha King Niao and other Uchiha clan members. Except for 23 people who were seriously injured and unable to fight, all other Uchiha ninjas went to the battlefield. They originally took Uchiha Mikoto as the backbone and followed Uchiha Mikoto to charge into battle. But not long after the battle, the backbone became Hoseki Kangyu. He was too strong. He was like the sharpest knife that stabbed into the mist shinobi troops fiercely. He killed people and gods, and launched the most efficient and most terrifying killing on this battlefield. Such unparalleled momentum and heroic posture like gods and demons made the Uchiha on the battlefield unable to help but approach and follow. Uchiha Mikoto saw this. Naturally he had no opinion at all, but was proud of Kitano Kangyu in his heart. Ding! At a certain moment, Kitano Kangyu's sword was blocked. He was slightly surprised. It had been a long time since anyone could block his sword, and they were all killed with one blow. But looking at the mist shinobi ninja glaring at him, Kitano Kangyu felt funny in his heart. He glared, swung the sword in his hand again, and killed the ninja with one sword. Fighting with Uchiha, he dared to glare at the eyes, not to seek death. Saki-sama! Someone roared, his eyes split, and then rushed towards Kitano Kangyu with a knife. However, looking at that person, Kitano Kangyu looked at him again, and made him stop, and more than 10 kunao and shuriken flew out from behind Kitano Kangyu, shooting the mist shinobi ninja into a sieve. He was not alone, there were a bunch of Uchiha behind him. Kill, continue. On the battlefield, not only was Hoseki Zangetsu killing crazily, but there was also a yellow flash that was constantly harvesting the lives of mist shinobi ninjas. Namikaze Minato's killing speed was even faster than Hoseki Zangetsu. He flashed around the battlefield in a mysterious way, and the flying thunder god Kunao in his hand was like a Shinigami's sickle, taking away countless souls while becoming a nightmare that too many ninjas would never forget. There was also Hitaki Kakashi holding silver lightning in his hand, and the chirping of the chirping birds resounded throughout the battlefield, attracting the attention of countless people and letting too many hidden ninjas know that Konoha has 10 youth celebration groups with Sharingan. Boom! At a certain moment, a huge noise erupted on the other side of the battlefield, where flames shot up into the sky and huge waves rolled. That was the collision of ninjutsu. When they were killing each other, some people had forgotten their teammates and only wanted to kill the enemy in front of them. They began to use various means without considering whether they would accidentally hurt their teammates. When someone broke the taboo, the war became more cruel. Various ninjutsu appeared on the battlefield, madly devouring fresh lives. Boom! There was another roar in the sky, and the lightning flashed, covering up some people's small movements. Boom! At a certain moment, 3 huge water dragons soared into the sky and fell fiercely towards Gui Denkengyu. At this time, Gui Denkengyu was surrounded and entangled by more than a dozen mist shinobi ninjas, and there was no time to dodge for a while. It was not only him, but also the ninja who besieged Gui Denkengyu beside him, and there was no time to dodge. It was obvious that the people who used ninjutsu had killed themselves, and they wanted to kill Gui Denkengyu even if they sacrificed more than a dozen mist shinobi ninjas. But it's normal. Zangetsu Kizuki performed too well in this war and killed too many Kirigakure ninjas. At least more than 80 Kirigakure ninjas became his dead souls. However, when the huge water dragon swooped down, a slender figure jumped to Zangetsu Kizuki, and then a huge silver chakra giant appeared, protecting Zangetsu Kizuki. The rushing water dragon faced the chakra giant, splashing water, and completely collapsed. It was Uchiha Mikoto. She had Mangekyo Sharingan, so she could open Susanoo. And because Zangetsu Kizuki's Mangekyo Sharingan was obtained from Uchiha Mikoto, Uchiha Mikoto's Susanoo was also silver. Zangetsu, are you okay? Uchiha Mikoto spoke to Zangetsu Kizuki beside her. Even in the fight, she had been paying attention to Zangetsu Kizuki's movements. Just now, she thought Zangetsu Kizuki might be in danger, so she immediately came to support him. I'm fine, you go first Susanoo, this is a big burden on your body. Hoseki Kangyu said quickly, excessive use of Mangekyo Sharingan 587 will cause a serious burden on the body, and eventually even blindness. Uchiha Mikoto's eyes have not been strengthened, it is not an eternal Mangekyo Sharingan, but there is a risk of blindness. It's okay, I can still. Uchiha Mikoto's heart warmed, and he spoke. But before he finished, he was interrupted by Hoseki Kangyu. You don't want to be unable to see me and our children in the future. As soon as these words came out, Uchiha Mikoto's heart trembled, and then she obediently dispersed Susanoo. She had long been fascinated by the sweet words and empty promises of Hoseki Zangetsu, and she often thought about the happy life of herself, Hoseki Zangetsu and their children in the future. If she couldn't even see what their children looked like in the future, Uchiha Mikoto felt that she would go crazy. Madam. Uchiha Bluebird quickly came to Uchiha Mikoto. Just now, she saw Uchiha Mikoto use Susanoo and it quickly dissipated, and she thought something went wrong. Seeing that Uchiha Mikoto was fine, she was relieved. The Mist Shinobi ninjas here have been dealt with almost, continue to approach Elder Tate Shinobi and others, and annihilate the remaining Mist Shinobi ninjas in one fell swoop. Uchiha Mikoto wiped the rain off her face, looked around and spoke, "Today's war, it's almost time to end." Chapter 61. The battle at this point was over. After hundreds of ninjas died on both sides, Mist Shinobi retreated helplessly. Their offensive was blocked again. It is said that the first attack is strong, the second is weak, and the third is exhausted. After hearing that Rock Shinobi had started the peace negotiation process with Konoha, Kirigakure launched several large-scale attacks in succession, but each time it failed, which quickly wore out the fighting spirit of the Mist Shinobi ninjas. If this continues, let alone taking down Konoha's defense line, it will probably not take long before they will be counterattacked and flee back to the land of water in embarrassment. So, Mizukage should think carefully about what to do next. Should he continue, or take the initiative to negotiate and end this war? The ninjas of Kirigakure were depressed because they could not take down the enemy for a long time, and the camp was full of gloom. However, the Konoha camp, which successfully resisted the attack of Mist Shinobi and won the defensive battle again, did not have any laughter and joy. On the contrary, many people were silent. Because although the battle was won, too many ninjas were sacrificed. The death of friends, comrades, and even relatives around you makes it difficult for people to be happy. Except for Kizuki. What does it matter to him if others die? Even if all the ninjas in Konoha died, Kizuki would not feel any sadness. As long as his target is not dead. Not only was Kizuki not sad in this war, he was even a little happy. Because his attack rate for Uchiha Mikoto has increased again. The two fought side by side, Kizuki's performance on the battlefield, and his words to Uchiha Mikoto made him clearer in Uchiha Mikoto's mind, while Uchiha Fugaku began to blur. So if the war can improve the attack progress, Kizuki even hopes that the war will never end. In this way, he can quickly attack everyone, get rich rewards, and meet the enemy as soon as possible. It feels good to think about it. Unfortunately, this war is destined to not last long. Mizukage is not a fool. He knows the situation in the ninja world and the current situation of Kirigakure. The reason why he decided to attack Konoha was because Konoha was attacked by Cloud Shinobi Village and Uegakure at the same time. Mizukage thought that if Kirigakure joined the war, Konoha would have a good chance of defeating Konoha. However, no one expected that Konoha would have such a deep foundation and could fight against the three major hidden villages at the same time. Moreover, there was a genius like Namikaze Minato who suddenly appeared and defeated Uegakure with his Flying Thunder God technique and decided to negotiate with Konoha. That was fine. The most outrageous thing was that Mizukage had just received the news that Uegakure, who decided to negotiate with Konoha, suddenly attacked Cloud Shinobi Village and killed the third Raikage of Cloud Shinobi Village. This news stunned Mizukage. He couldn't understand Uegakure's operation and was a little confused by the move of the two-day balance Onoki. But soon Mizukage understood Onoki's idea. Since the war with Konoha has failed and they can't get spoils from Konoha, then in order to stop the loss, they naturally have to earn back what they lost and consumed in the war from other places. And Cloud Shinobi Village, the former ally, is naturally the best target. Two-pronged Onoki, he is really a despicable and shameless person. Mizukage cursed, but after venting, he could only make the decision to end the war helplessly. How can we fight this? Uegakure's betrayal made Konoha end the war with Cloud Shinobi Village Uegakure at once. When the Konoha shinobi from the two battlefields came to support them, they would really be beaten and fled back to the land of water. It is better to end this war that is destined to gain nothing. The war ended just like that. In the third month after Kizuki entered the Konoha camp, the Third Ninja World War, which lasted for more than a year and nearly 2 years, finally ended. When the news of Kirigakure's retreat reached the Konoha camp, confirming that the war between Konoha and Mist Shinobi was completely over, the ninjas in the Konoha camp cheered. We won, we won. Kirigakure retreated, great, we won, woohoo. I knew we would win, long live Konoha. What Mist Shinobi, Rock Shinobi, Mist Shinobi, they are all garbage, Konoha is the best in the world. Great, I can finally go home. Brother, did you see that we won, we won. It's over, this war. The emotions that had been suppressed for too long burst out, and the whole camp was noisy in an instant, countless people shouted, and many people cried with joy. In this war, Konoha really lost too many excellent ninjas. But finally, everything is over. Konoha survived and won the war again. Only Kizuna felt nothing in his heart. It even became a little urgent. After all, Konoha's war was over, but his war was not over yet. On the contrary, it had just begun. Namikaze Minato, the rival in love, had not been dealt with yet. Since the war is over, soon everyone will go to Konoha as a class. According to the plot in the original book, Namikaze Minato and Uzumaki Kushina will get married at that time. Then it won't be long before Namikaze Minato succeeds the position of Hokage and becomes the fourth Hokage of Konoha. How could Zangetsu Kizuki tolerate this? It doesn't matter if he is the Hokage, but Zangetsu Kizuki cannot accept the fact that Namikaze Minato and Uzumaki Kushina are married. He has always been the only one who can bully others. If others want to bully him, it is simply a pipe dream and unforgivable. For the sake of his own head, Namikaze Minato must die. There is no room for negotiation on this point. What should I do to get rid of Namikaze Minato quietly? Zangetsu Kizuki has a headache. There is no chance to be alone with Namikaze Minato. Although I completely exposed myself and killed Namikaze Minato with 3000 fantasy worlds and Amaterasu in front of everyone, Zangetsu Kizuki didn't want to do that. If he did that, his previous layout would be completely in vain. So, what should we do? Kizuki thought about it, but couldn't think of a good way for a while. Could it be that only Namikaze Minato returned to the village? No, absolutely not. If he returned to the village, it would be even more difficult to find a chance to kill Namikaze Minato. While Kizuki was thinking about how to create a way to kill Namikaze Minato, the news of the end of the war was also reported back to Konoha. Suddenly, Konoha really fell into a sea of a joy. Presumably, the ninjas on the battlefield were mixed with joy and sorrow, and the people of Konoha were excited and happy. Of course, there were also some concerns. Worried about whether their relatives who went to the battlefield could come back alive. Victory, we won. Long live Konoha. Great, we beat Ken. The same words as those in the battlefield camp floated over Konoha, which was the joy of the people of Konoha. It can be said that almost every person in Konoha was sharing and enjoying this joy. But there were exceptions. Uzumaki Kushina was not excited. After she heard the news of the end of the war, she was overjoyed and then became afraid. She was filled with anger, despair, fear, and other emotions. Because, she was pregnant. Chapter 62. Uzumaki Kushina is pregnant. This is something she just discovered recently. The experience that night was already a nightmare. After it happened, Uzumaki Kushina was in a daze and couldn't wake up from the nightmare. However, before she could wake up, the nightmare turned into bad news. The moment she was sure that she was pregnant, Uzumaki Kushina's heart was dead. She was too ashamed to see Namikaze Minato. Shame and despair occupied her whole heart. Uzumaki Kushina even wanted to die. However, the Envy who were monitoring her would never let Uzumaki Kushina get what she wanted. The last time Uzumaki Kushina got into trouble, the third Hokage was furious. This time, with the reinforcement of the Envy personnel, if Uzumaki Kushina still committed suicide, then they would be too ashamed of the third Hokage and too incompetent and useless. So after discovering that Uzumaki Kushina was suicidal, the Envy ninja quickly stopped her and reported the situation to the third Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen. After hearing that Uzumaki Kushina had committed suicide, Sarutobi Hiruzen immediately came in person to ask Uzumaki Kushina about the situation. Why did she commit suicide? Sarutobi Hiruzen couldn't figure it out. However, after asking Uzumaki Kushina to no avail, he could only use illusion to control Uzumaki Kushina. After learning that Uzumaki Kushina had been attacked at night and was pregnant, Sarutobi Hiruzen was dumbfounded. He even felt a chill in his body. Uzumaki Kushina was pregnant. She was Minato's girlfriend. While Minato was fighting hard on the front line, fighting for Konoha and making great achievements, his girlfriend was attacked at night in Konoha village and became pregnant. How could he, the third Hokage guarding Konoha village, face Minato in this situation? As the master of Namikaze Minato, how could he be worthy of Minato? Sarutobi Hiruzen was at a loss and even panicked. But he had seen the storms and waves after all, and was a shadow of a village. After a brief period of confusion and chaos in his heart, he went back to arrange for the sound department to strengthen the monitoring and protection of Uzumaki Kushina. No matter what, Uzumaki Kushina cannot die. She is Konoha's Nine Tails Jinchuriki. If she dies, Nine Tails will die too. Moreover, Uzumaki Kushina is Namikaze Minato's girlfriend. Konoha already feels sorry for Namikaze Minato because Uzumaki Kushina was attacked by a mysterious person at night and got pregnant. If Uzumaki Kushina was allowed to commit suicide, what kind of decision would Namikaze Minato make after knowing the truth? Even though he knew Namikaze Minato's character and understood Namikaze Minato's character, Sarutobi Hiruzen still didn't dare to gamble. Because if he put himself in her shoes, if this happened to him, he might also do irrational things. But it's not enough to just solve Uzumaki Kushina's safety problem. The most important problem is that Uzumaki Kushina has been violated and pregnant. What would Minato think if he knew about this? Sarutobi Hiruzen didn't know. Uzumaki Kushina didn't know either. She was lying on the bed, with two female ninjas beside her, one of whom was Sarutobi Hiruzen's wife, and the other was an excellent Anbu in the village. These two are now guarding her closely to prevent her from committing suicide. Outside this room, within a radius of 50 meters, there are two teams of Anbu guarding. Nine Tails, tell me, who is it? In the consciousness space, Uzumaki Kushina looked at Nine Tails' huge body and spoke coldly. She had a blank expression on her face, her eyes were full of murderous intent, and she looked into Nine Tails' eyes with resentment and anger. I've already said that I don't know who it is. Nine Tails glanced at Uzumaki Kushina, then closed his eyes and spoke. It didn't want to die. After all, the person who knew the secret of 10 tails and the 9-tailed beasts and the name could really kill it completely. If you don't tell me, I'll kill you. Uzumaki Kushina's red hair flew up, and the whole person exuded a dark aura. Her heart had been eroded by anger. Now Song wanted to kill the person who defiled her. Then, commit suicide. She didn't have the face to see Namikaze Minato again. She was sorry for Namikaze Minato. Kill me? Then kill me. For me, it's just a long sleep. I can wake up again in a few years. Facing Uzumaki Kushina's threat, Nine Tails was not moved at all. Kill it. It's a joke. Although sealed in Jinchuriki's body, it means that he and Jinchuriki coexist. If Jinchuriki dies, he will die with him. But it is not real death. The essence of their tailed beasts is chakra, and chakra will not die. On the contrary, Jinchuriki's death is a kind of freedom for it, because it wakes up again after a few years, not in Jinchuriki's body, but in nature. So, Nine Tails doesn't care about Uzumaki Kushina's threat at all. Uzumaki Kushina saw Nine Tails' nonchalant look, and her anger in her heart became even worse. She roared, and chains flew out of her body and quickly extended to Nine Tails. This is venting, and Kushina needs to vent her emotions. However, Nine Tails will not indulge Uzumaki Kushina. Seeing Uzumaki Kushina attacked it, Nine Tails stood up immediately, bared his teeth, roared at Uzumaki Kushina, and then waved his claws, constantly sweeping away the chains that attacked. It was unknown how long it lasted. This battle between the human and the tailed beast in the consciousness ended with Nine Tails being locked to the ground by chains and unable to move. Uzumaki Kushina's physique and bloodline, her diamond chains, are really suitable for dealing with tailed beasts. Nine Tails is no match for Uzumaki Kushina at all. It's really interesting. The virginity that I was going to give on the wedding night was easily taken away by a mysterious person, and I was pregnant with that mysterious person's child. Uzumaki Kushina, I am looking forward to Namikaze Minato's expression after hearing this news. Unable to defeat Uzumaki Kushina physically, Nine Tails directly launched a mental attack, mocking her, causing Uzumaki Kushina to emit a sharp explosion. I want you to die, I want you to die. In her mind, Uzumaki Kushina was crazy. In reality, tears rolled down her face uncontrollably. Her expression was numb and desperate, which made Sarutobi Biwako and the wooden Anbya who were guarding her by the bed feel distressed. Poor Kushina, how could she encounter such a thing? They sympathized with Uzumaki Kushina, and at the same time they were thinking and cursing in their hearts. Who was born a beast to do such a heartless thing? He deserved to die. Kizuki naturally did not trademark T know that he was being called a beast, nor did he know that he was so Luka to be in Uzumaki Kushina's body was hit by a single shot. As the time for the main force to return to Konoha approached, he couldn't help but become anxious. In the end, how to kill Namikaze Minato. Quietly. Chapter 63. For Zangetsu, it is not difficult to kill Namikaze Minato. With his current status and the achievements he has made on the battlefield, I believe Namikaze Minato has completely regarded him as a trustworthy companion. And this trust is undoubtedly enough. Zangetsu only needs Namikaze Minato to look into his eyes. The 3000 illusions plus Amaterasu can allow Zangetsu to kill Namikaze Minato when Namikaze Minato cannot resist at all. After all, although Namikaze Minato is strong, he is not immune to Zangetsu's pupil technique. When hit by the 3000 illusions, the mental power will also be pulled into the illusion of the 3000 illusions, and the control of the body will be healed. At most, Zangetsu will need to use 70% of his mental power to suppress it. So for Zangetsu, it is not difficult to kill Namikaze Minato. The difficulty is how to kill Namikaze Minato quietly so that no one will guess that he did it, so this requires creating an alibi. And Namikaze Minato must disappear without a trace, so that the disappearance of the ninja world in the leaf is not death. So, how can I find an opportunity to be alone with Namikaze Minato? Kizuki was thinking frantically in his mind. Finally, he thought of a somewhat risky plan. In the Konoha camp, Namikaze Minato looked at the people who were packing their luggage to return to the village, and a smile appeared on his face. The war was over, and it wouldn't be long before he could return to Konoha. Thinking of Uchiha Mikoto who was waiting for him to return safely in Konoha, Namikaze Minato was a little impatient. If possible, he even wanted to use the Flying Thunder God technique to quickly return to Konoha and meet the person he missed so much. But Namikaze Minato suppressed his impulse. There is no order without rules. Although the war was over, Namikaze Minato couldn't convince himself if he left early, even if Yudin Koharu and Mitokato Homura didn't care. Moreover, compared to meeting Uzumaki Kushina in advance, Namikaze Minato wanted to meet her as a hero of Konoha. He wanted to be the pride of Uzumaki Kushina. It's really troublesome. I have to clean up the traps I set in the forest before. Damn it. I just want to pack my luggage and go home quickly. At a certain moment, a young ninja walked past Namikaze Minato with his head down and muttered. Hearing the young man's underestimation, Namikaze Minato was slightly stunned. Do I need to clean up the traps left in the forest? When was the task assigned? Why didn't anyone tell him? The thought flashed through his mind, but Namikaze Minato didn't delve into it. He just thought that maybe this was not an order from Yudin Koharu and Mitokato Homura, but from the team of this young man, or maybe this task didn't require him to take action, so he was not notified. Are you going to the forest? Namikaze Minato asked the young man, startling him. He looked up and saw that it was Namikaze Minato who was speaking. He immediately showed a surprised expression and his eyes became respectful. Minato-sama. Are you talking to me? The excited young man stammered, his tone full of disbelief. Such a tone and eyes made Namikaze Minato smile and look around. It seemed that the person in front of him was his fanatical fan. Well, I just heard you say that you need to go to the forest to clear the traps that were set before. Namikaze Minato smiled and said, his smile was as sunny as the Sunday. This matter, it's like this, Minato-sama, our captain said that considering that the village will send people to the forest to redeploy defenses later, in order not to cause trouble to the people later, let us go to check the traps we set and destroy those that have not been triggered. The young man also looked around and said, and Namikaze Minato suddenly realized it after hearing it. Sure enough, it was just as he thought. Actually, this is understandable. I totally agree with it. It's just that the trap I set up before was a bit far away, near the Higashino Canyon in the east of the forest. It takes a long time to go back and forth, so I couldn't help but complain a little. The young man spoke, sighed, and continued, I wouldn't have set the trap so far away. However, just as the young man finished speaking, he heard Namikaze Minato speak, near the Higashino Canyon. I can help you. There happens to be a flying thunder god Kunao of mine nearby. Hearing this, the young man's eyes suddenly lit up. But he waved his hand quickly to Namikaze Minato, and said hurriedly, this, how can I be so embarrassed? No need to trouble you, Lord Minato, I can do it myself. Seeing the young man like this, although he said that he didn't need to trouble you, Namikaze Minato still knew that the young man still hoped to get his help in his heart. So Namikaze Minato said, it's not a troublesome thing for me. You know the ability of Flying Thunder God technique. Don't worry, it will be completed soon, and then you can return to Konoha faster to see those people you miss so much. This. Thank you so much, Lord Minato. The young man was persuaded by Namikaze Minato. He hesitated for a while and agreed, and bowed deeply to Namikaze Minato. We are all companions, so there is no need to be like this. Let's go, we will go there now. Namikaze Minato said, putting his hand on the young man, and then disappeared from the spot in an instant. After Namikaze Minato and the young man disappeared, in the distance, the smile on the face of Hojiki Kangyu, who was talking to the three might guys who came to thank him, became even bigger. It seems that this time, I am right again. Hojiki Kangyu thought to himself. The young man who just talked to Namikaze Minato was naturally him in disguise. As for the task of clearing traps, where is such a task? It's just a carefully woven lie. Not only this lie, but also the Higashino Gorge, is also the place that Hojiki Kangyu carefully prepared. Because that was the place where he and Namikaze Minato met for the first time, and it was also the place where Gotde and him joined forces to defeat the 7 ninja swordsmen. The reason for choosing that place was that day Hojiki Kangyu noticed that Namikaze Minato left a flying thunder god Kunao there. So Hojiki Kangyu made a bet, betting that after knowing that the young man needed to go to Higashino Gorge, even if Namikaze, who was not prepared to help in his heart, Minato, hearing the place name with his own flying thunder god Kunao, will not be able to help. Then, the opportunity to be alone has been created successfully. Whether Namikaze Minato can be killed depends on you. Don't let me down, trapped body. Hoshomi Zanjutsu's shadow clone said to himself. Then he continued to talk with the three might guys. Hoshomi Zangetsu was the one who set up the trap to assassinate Namikaze Minato, what does Uchiha Zangetsu have to do with him? Chapter 64. In the forest, near the Higashino Gorge. In this deep forest, with the end of the war, I believe that no one will come for a long time. But today, 2 figures appeared out of nowhere. It was the real body of Hojiki Zangetsu and Namikaze Minato, who were disguised using the transformation technique. After the two appeared, Hojiki Zangetsu spoke in a shocked and excited tone, is this the Flying Thunder God technique? It's so amazing. After sighing, he bowed again and thanked Namikaze Minato. Thank you so much, Lord Minato, leave it to me next, thank you for your hard work. After saying that, Hojiki Zangetsu suddenly jumped back, and then showed a look of astonishment. Looking at Namikaze Minato, who was expressionless on the opposite side and holding the Flying Thunder God Kunao in an attacking posture, he looked puzzled. Shui, Master Minato, why are you attacking me? Don't pretend anymore, I've seen through you. Tell me, why did you do this to 823? Namikaze Minato spoke in a cold tone. He was as warm as a little sun in front of his friends and companions, but in front of his enemies, he was like ice that had not melted for thousands of years, and a piercing cold wind. I don't understand what you are talking about, Master Minato, is there any misunderstanding? Hojiki Kangyu continued to be stunned and explained. However, looking at Namikaze Minato's expression that was not moved at all, and his icy eyes, Hojiki Kangyu's expression also became calm. I was actually seen through, it's really amazing, yellow flash Namikaze Minato. Hoshomi Zangetsu said, so, how did you find out? Chakra like yours is not something that ordinary ninjas can have. Namikaze Minato said, when he touched Hoshomi Zanjutsu's shoulder in the camp, he sensed Hoshomi Zanjutsu's rope-sized chakra. That is far more chakra than ordinary people, dozens of times the chakra of ordinary ninjas. This is very abnormal. How could someone with such a large amount of chakra be an unknown person? He must be able to make a name for himself, and he can't be just an ordinary Chonin. In addition, not only does he have an amazing amount of chakra, but he also gives Namikaze Minato a cold feeling, which makes Namikaze Minato suspicious of Hoshomi Zangetsu. Just chakra? This reason is not sufficient. Hojiki looked at Namikaze Minato and said, he didn't believe that someone like Namikaze Minato would take action for such a reason. If there was no stronger evidence, even if he felt something was wrong, Namikaze Minato would definitely test it first instead of taking action directly. Indeed, if it was just chakra, I wouldn't take action against you directly, because your disguise is really good. But you overlooked an important thing. What? The ninja number on the clothes. Number. Hojiki was stunned. Is there a number on the clothes of the leaf ninja? In order to facilitate the identification of the body after death, before the war began, Elder Yudin Koharu issued an order for each ninja to write his ninja number on his clothes. And I looked carefully at your clothes, and there is no number. Namikaze Minato said. Maybe I forgot to write it. Then you wouldn't admit it so easily. Hokichiku was silent. It turned out that the most important reason was that he admitted that he had a problem so easily. Pa pa pa. Hokichiku clapped his hands and then exclaimed. Awesome, not only the meticulous observation, but also the psychological temptation, he is worthy of being the famous yellow flash in the ninja world. Then tell me your intention. Namikaze Minato said, he even suspected that Hokichiku was not a ninja from Konoha. After all, not writing the number on the clothes can be understood as carelessness, but not knowing to write the number cannot be explained by intention. Intention? Do you want to guess? Hoshiki Zangetsu spoke, and his heart was excited. Since the plan was discovered, there is no need to regret it. Regret is useless. Next, it is a round of fighting with the famous Konoha Yellow Flash in the ninja world. This is the best ninja in the Hokage. It must be said that it is a matter of hormones soaring and excitement to be able to fight with him. However. Puff. The flying thunder god Kunao in Namikaze Minato's hand cut through Hoshiki Zanjutsu's body, but there was no blood splashing as imagined. What came out of Hoshiki Zanjutsu's body was not blood, but water. Sure enough, you left the flying thunder god technique on my clothes. Hoshiki Zangetsu looked at Namikaze Minato, who failed to hit and used the flying thunder god technique to distance himself, and took off his shirt in his stunned face. After realizing that he had been discovered by Namikaze Minato, Zangetsu Hoshiki guessed that Namikaze Minato had left the flying thunder god spell on his clothes. Because this is Namikaze Minato's common fighting method, using the flying thunder god spell to instantly kill the enemy before they can react, leaving no room for resistance. The facts proved that it was indeed the case. If Zangetsu Hoshiki had not known Namikaze Minato well enough and prepared the water technique in advance, he would probably have been injured by Namikaze Minato just now. Yes, just injured. With Zangetsu Hoshiki's reaction speed, if Namikaze Minato wanted to kill Zangetsu Hoshiki, it would be impossible before Zangetsu Hoshiki was injured and became dull. Water technique, you are a member of the Zangetsu clan. Namikaze Minato stared at Zangetsu Hoshiki and said. Even though he had guessed it, Namikaze Minato still felt a little incredible. How could a member of the Kirigakure clan sneak into Konoha's camp? If it was so easy to sneak in, Konoha would have perished long ago. The Kirigakure clan? The water transformation technique is indeed the Kirigakure clan's secret technique, but who told you that the water transformation technique can only be practiced by the Kirigakure clan? Kirito Zangetsu naturally would not admit that he was a member of the Kirigakure clan. Today, he no longer had absolute confidence in killing Namikaze Minato. Once Namikaze Minato escaped, the more he admitted now, the more his secrets would be exposed. Kirito Zanjutsu's words made Namikaze Minato stunned, and then he agreed with Kirigakure's statement. Indeed, the Kirigakure clan's water transformation technique is a secret technique of the Kirigakure clan. Technique is not a blood limit, but a secret technique. Since it is a secret technique, it means that other people can also practice it. Moreover, compared to the fact that the ninjas of the Hoshiki clan sneaked into the Konoha camp, it is undoubtedly more reasonable for the people of Konoha to learn the secret techniques of the Hoshiki clan. Whether you are a ninja of the Hoshiki clan or not, it will not affect your ending. The people in the interrogation department will dig out all your secrets. Namikaze Minato spoke, and threw the flying thunder god Kunao in his hand directly towards Zangetsu. At the same time, Namikaze Minato's body also rushed towards Zangetsu. Seeing this, Zangetsu felt alert in his heart, and his body started instantly. He held the Kunao and rushed towards Namikaze Minato. Soon, the two were about to collide, and they could see each other's sharp eyes clearly. However, when Zangetsu swung the Kunao in his hand, Namikaze Minato disappeared from in front of him and instantly appeared behind Zangetsu, at the position of the flying thunder god Kunao he had just avoided. And after appearing, Namikaze Minato already held a light blue chakra ball in his hand. Raise Nan. Boom. Chapter 65. In the forest, Hoshiki Zangetsu held a Kunao and leaned forward to sprint. And Namikaze Minato appeared above Hoshiki Zangetsu with a raise Nan in his hand and pressed down the raise Nan fiercely. Damn, I became Obito. Boom. With a huge roar, the raise Nan in Namikaze Minato's hand smashed a deep pit in the ground, mud and sand splashed, and the birds in the forest flew away in fright. The movement was very loud, and Namikaze Minato's raise Nan was amazingly powerful. But unfortunately, his opponent knew the water technique. On the ground, Hoshiki Zangetsu, who was immune to this attack, quickly recondensed and swung his fist at Namikaze Minato. But before Hoshiki Zanjutsu's fist reached Namikaze Minato's body, Namikaze Minato disappeared instantly. What a rogue technique! Looking at Namikaze Minato who had appeared in the distance, Deng Zangetsu sighed. Flying Thunder God technique, only after experiencing it personally, can you know how helpless this technique is. It's a pity that I don't have Thunder Attribute Chakra, and I haven't practiced Lightning Style Ninjutsu. Even if I know the weakness of the water technique, I can't target it well. Namikaze Minato had no expression on his face when he heard what Zangetsu said, just thinking in his heart. But Namikaze Minato didn't think Zangetsu could escape from him today. The water technique can indeed be immune to attacks, and he does not have Lightning Style Ninjutsu to restrain it, but the water technique is immune to attacks and it also requires the caster to react and cast the water technique before the damage comes. So as long as he is fast enough, he can attack the opponent before the opponent reacts to use the water technique. While Namikaze Minato was thinking about how to deal with Zangetsu, Zangetsu was also thinking about how to deal with Namikaze Minato. There is no doubt that if he wants to kill Namikaze Minato, he must use Sharingan. But using Sharingan will bring the risk of exposure. If Namikaze Minato sees his eternal Mangekyo Sharingan and becomes afraid, and uses Flying Thunder God technique to leave before he can use 3000 illusions, then Kaibaku Zangyang can only stare at him. So Namikaze Minato must look him in the eye. This is both difficult and easy. It is easy because Namikaze Minato is skilled and bold, and he does not know Mangekyo Sharingan, so he naturally would not think that he would be killed if he looked at Kizuki. The difficulty is that although Namikaze Minato does not know Mangekyo Sharingan, he knows Sharingan. Try to avoid looking at the Uchiha clan's Sharingan. This is the consensus of almost all ninjas in the entire ninja world. In addition, although Namikaze Minato does not know what Kizuki's intention is, the other party has specifically led him here, and there must be actions against him. This will undoubtedly make Namikaze Minato more vigilant. But he can still take a gamble. If he is really exposed, he can just leave Konoha and make a new plan. It seems that today's plan has failed. In this case, let's see each other next time. I will definitely kill you next time we meet. After saying this, Zangetsu Hojiki pretended to turn around and leave. And Namikaze Minato certainly couldn't let Zangetsu Hojiki leave like this. He still had doubts in his heart about Zangetsu Hojiki's identity, purpose, and means of infiltrating Konoha, etc. There are too many things Namikaze Minato wants to know. So when Zangetsu Hojiki left, Namikaze Minato quickly followed. He threw the Flying Thunder God Kunao in his hand towards Zangetsu Hojiki with force, and when the Kunao caught up with Zangetsu Hojiki, Namikaze Minato's body directly used the Flying Thunder God technique and instantly came to Zangetsu Hojiki's side. The two looked at each other and then suddenly attacked. Ding, ding, ding. The two men fought quickly, and the Kunao collided with each other, making a crisp sound, which seemed so abrupt in this silent forest. Close combat has always been the forte of Zangetsu Kizuki, but at this moment, he is at a disadvantage. It is not that Namikaze Minato's physical skills are so strong. Physical skills are not what Namikaze Minato is good at. Even if his reaction nerves are extremely sensitive, he cannot suppress Zangetsu Kizuki in physical skills. The reason why Zangetsu Kizuki is at a disadvantage is entirely because he has not activated his Sharingan. And how much Sharingan can enhance physical skills, I believe everyone who knows Sharingan knows. It can be said that physical skills without Zangetsu Kizuki activating Sharingan and physical skills after activating Sharingan are completely different. Ding! After another collision, Zangetsu Kizuki used the force to flip backwards and then fell to the ground. Everyone knows that the yellow flashing Flying Thunder God technique can easily kill the enemy, but they seem to have forgotten that if you want to kill someone, the Flying Thunder God technique alone is not enough, and you also need to match it with physical skills. Kizuki Zangetsu sighed, and he still admired Namikaze Minato in his heart. Because Namikaze Minato is not going all out yet. He still has a hidden Sage mode that he hasn't used. Once he enters Sage mode, the various attributes of Namikaze Minato's body will surge again, whether it is strength, speed, or reaction speed, it will be raised to another level. With such physical skills, even if Kizuki Zangetsu starts Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan, he may not be able to suppress Namikaze Minato in the physical skills duel. However, Namikaze Minato is most likely unable to use fairy skills anymore. Because Kizuki Zangetsu has already got the result he wanted after a test just now. Just now, he deliberately escaped and let Namikaze Minato chase him, naturally for a purpose. The purpose is to observe Namikaze Minato's gaze. Observe Namikaze Minato's habit of staying in his field of vision. People have different habits. Some people are used to looking at the face when they first see someone, some are used to looking at the waist, and some are used to looking at the legs. Even if they are specially trained ninjas, they will not look at the waist or legs in a vulgar way, but different ninjas will look at the enemy's face in different places. Fortunately, Namikaze Minato, like most ninjas, looks at the enemy's eyes at first glance. So, the next is Namikaze Minato's death. Hojiki Kangyu thought, took out a smoke bomb from the ninja bag and threw it, and the man turned around and ran away under the cover of the smoke. Seeing Hojiki Kangyu continue to run away, Namikaze Minato decisively followed. The previous fight gave him a rough idea of Euro Hojiki Kangyu's strength. Namikaze Shui 490 is confident that he can take down Hojiki Kangyu. He threw his Flying Thunder God Kunao again in the direction of the smoke, and in order to prevent the position where he would appear later from being ambushed, Namikaze Minato threw more than one Flying Thunder God Kunao. 4 Flying Thunder God Kunao passed through the smoke directly and quickly approached the direction where Zangetsu Hojiki left. Namikaze Minato's body also randomly appeared at the position of one of the Flying Thunder God Kunao. After he appeared, he looked at the back of Zangetsu Hojiki who was jumping and running away in front of him, and followed decisively. And threw the Flying Thunder God Kunao in his hand again while jumping. The speed of ordinary people is naturally not faster than the Kunao thrown out with force. The Kunao thrown by Namikaze Minato was the last to arrive, and directly surpassed Zangetsu Hojiki's figure. The next moment, Namikaze Minato's body appeared in front of Zangetsu Hojiki, with raised nan in his hand, and he was about to hit Zangetsu Hojiki hard. However, Namikaze Minato had no idea that after using the smoke bomb to pretend to escape, Zangetsu Hojiki opened his Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan. So when Namikaze Minato came to Zangetsu Hojiki and looked at Zangetsu Hojiki with all his attention, what he saw was a pair of eyes with exquisite four-leaf clover patterns. Mangekyo Sharingan. At this moment, Namikaze Minato was horrified. He subconsciously wanted to use the Flying Thunder God technique to teleport away. However, it was too late. The moment Namikaze Minato's eyes met Zangetsu Hojiki's eternal Mangekyo Sharingan, his fate was doomed. 3000 Fantasy Worlds. Chapter 66. 3000 Fantasy Worlds. This is a pupil technique that Namikaze Minato cannot resist at all. After Hojiki Zangetsu looked at Namikaze Minato's eyes and activated the pupil technique, Namikaze Minato's mental power was pulled into the illusion space of the 3000 Fantasy Worlds. And Namikaze Minato's body, which lost the control of mental power, also fell to the ground under the action of inertia. The raised nan in his hand exploded directly, blasting Namikaze Minato's palm into a bloody mess. Hojiki Zangetsu's body fell from the sky and landed beside Namikaze Minato's body. As expected of the future 4th Hokage, I actually used 60% of my mental power. Hojiki Zangetsu sighed, he just felt so tired and his head hurt. The whole person's state is a bit like drinking a lot of alcohol and catching a cold. But he can still hold on. Hojiki Zangetsu squatted down, took away Namikaze Minato's ninja bag, and after searching it, he stabbed the kunao in his hand into Namikaze Minato's heart. Then, he took out a small glass bottle and filled it with some of Namikaze Minato's blood. Enduring the discomfort of his body and standing up, Kitano Kangyu looked at Namikaze Minato, who was losing his life on the ground, and his eyes widened. Amaterasu. A pitch-black flame appeared on Namikaze Minato's body. This was an immortal flame that could burn even the void. Kitano Kangyu used this strongest fire style to cremate Namikaze Minato's body. Ding! Congratulations host for defeating his love rival Namikaze Minato. The other party died, listening to the system's prompts, and watching Namikaze Minato's spiritual power dissipating into starlight in the 3000 Fantasy Worlds. Kitano Kangyu breathed a sigh of relief. After the 3000 Fantasy Worlds ended, with the return of his spiritual power, he recovered all of a sudden and felt refreshed. What a pity, Senior Minato, the war between rivals is so cruel, and I won this war. Then, Kushina will belong to me. Hojumi Zangetsu looked at the burning body of Namikaze Minato and spoke to himself in his heart. He just kept watching Namikaze Minato's body being burned to ashes, until there was nothing left. Now, even if others want to find Namikaze Minato's body, it will be impossible. He will completely disappear in the ninja world, and his life and death will be a mystery. People will speculate on the reason for Namikaze Minato's disappearance, but no one would have thought that Namikaze Minato turned out to be the Hand Minister of Zangetsu, a young talent of the Konoha Uchiha clan who appeared out of nowhere in the Third Ninja World War. And he died so miserably, with no bones left. It's time to reap the rewards again. The reward for defeating the rival Namikaze Minato will be Flying Thunder God technique. Thinking about the upcoming reward, even with his big heart, Kangyu couldn't help but start looking forward to it, feeling nervous. That was the Flying Thunder God technique. With this technique, Kangyu's combat power would definitely be greatly improved. It would also bring great help to his future actions. Attacks. After taking a deep breath, Kangyu received the reward. Then. Ha ha ha, ha ha ha, ha 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 ha. Lao Zi is really a European emperor. Lao Zi's luck is invincible. Finally, I got the Flying Thunder God technique. Thanks, Minato-senpai. Don't worry, I will take good care of Kushina for you. Kangyu felt happy and couldn't help but burst into Uchiha-style laughter. Fortunately, there was no one here, otherwise, seeing Kangyu like this, they would definitely think they had met a lunatic. However, it's okay to say that Kangyu is a lunatic. Feeling the flying thunder scattered around God's spell, Kizuki's body suddenly disappeared from the spot, and the next moment he was already near the nearest Flying Thunder God Kunryupan. What he got was Namikaze Minato's Flying Thunder God technique, Namikaze Minato's Flying Thunder God technique, and Zangetsu naturally inherited it. This inheritance also includes Namikaze Minato's knowledge of Flying Thunder God technique, his experience in using Flying Thunder God technique, etc. It can be said that Zangetsu now is Namikaze Minato in terms of Flying Thunder God technique. Picking up the Flying Thunder God Kunao on the ground, Zangetsu's body disappeared again and appeared next to another Flying Thunder God Kunao. After taking back all the nearby Flying Thunder God Kunao, Zangetsu returned to Namikaze Minato's side. He took a look at the ground that was scorched black by Amaterasu, and after making sure that there was nothing missing around, he disappeared on the spot. 3 days passed in a flash, and today is the day when the ninjas on the Konohagakure front returned to the court. Everyone's face was filled with joy and anticipation, because in 2 days, they would be able to see their long-lost relatives. But in the largest tent in the camp, Yudin Koharu and Mitokato Homura looked solemn. Still no news about Minato. Yudin Koharu looked at Mitokato Homura and spoke, but Mitokato Homura shook his head. Not only on our side, but also Konoha, Cloud Shinobi Village and Uegakure front, there is no news about Minato. He said, his tone puzzled and worried. Yudin Koharu fell silent. She was very upset because she felt that something might have happened to Namikaze Minato. After all, with Namikaze Minato's steady personality and reliable work, he would never do such a thing alone unless it was extremely urgent. It must be that the matter was so serious that there was no time to report, and even no time to leave a mark, so the group left so suddenly. But no matter what, it has been 3 days since Minato disappeared. After such a long time, Minato should have come back. But he didn't come back, and he didn't leave any letters or marks to tell people about his situation and what he did. This is too abnormal, just like the sudden disappearance of the third Kazekage of Tsunagakure. Damn, what happened? Yudin Koharu slapped the table and stood up from her seat. Her inner thoughts made her unable to calm down. If Namikaze Minato is really dead, then... No, even if Namikaze Minato is really dead, he must not let others know. Yudin Koharu knows what Namikaze Minato means to Konoha. It was he who defeated Uegakure in this war and finally ended this ninja world war. If people in other villages knew that Namikaze Minato disappeared, and it is very likely that something happened, then no one can guarantee that the war will not come again. And once the war comes again, can Konoha still win the war? Yudin Koharu has no confidence at all. We only know that Minato and a ninja left the camp 3 days ago. We don't know where they went or why they left, for the money, ... Mikoto Homura sighed. This is all the information they have, but this information is useless. He continued, people were sent to search the forest and found several flying thunder god kunao of Minato, but there were no marks left by Minato around those kunao. No one knows where he went. Hearing this, Yudin Koharu felt powerless. She sat down again, her heart was in turmoil. After a long time, Yudin Koharu said bitterly, we will go back tomorrow. If we return to the village and Minato still doesn't show up, I'm afraid people will be suspicious. Namikaze Minato's contribution to this war is too great. Now he is the hero of Konoha, attracting too many people's attention. Even if Minato didn't show up on the way back to the village, he had to show up when he got back to the village. How about, arrange for someone to pretend to be Minato and wait for Minato to come back? Mikoto Homura said. This was the best solution he could think of. Chapter 67. Welcome back to the village. Long live Konoha. Dad, look here. We won. Ah. Minato-senpai. Under the blue sky, the bustling Konoha village was filled with cheers and gongs and drums. Because today, those ninja guys who went to Kirigakure returned. They resisted the attack of Mist Shinobi, protected Konoha, and won the war that concerned Konoha's survival. The villagers rushed to their loved ones and hugged them. The people's accumulated thoughts for 2 years burst out, and they couldn't help laughing and crying. Hoshiki Zangetsu followed the Uchiha clan and gently looked at Uchiha Mikoto, who was crying while holding Uchiha Itachi and laughing. And Uchiha Itachi gently patted his mother's back and spoke to comfort her. Although he was only 4 years old, he was much more mature than children of the same age. While other children were at a loss in the face of this situation, he was already gently soothing his mother's excitement. But Kitano Kangyu noticed that Uchiha Itachi also had a sad face. Being smart, he might have guessed something from his mother's behavior in the eyes of some Uchiha people around him. His father, 600, might have died in the battle. Kitano Kangyu retracted his gaze. If he continued to watch, he felt that his conscience would hurt and he would feel guilty. So it's better not to watch. As a person, it's most important to be good to yourself and be happy. Kitano Kangyu thought to himself and looked at Namikaze Minato, who was surrounded by the crowd and had a sunny smile on his face. What a good smile, as if it were real. Kitano Kangyu raised the corner of his mouth. Namikaze Minato's ashes were gone, how could he reappear? That guy is just a transformation technique of a ninja. However, Kushina didn't come. Did she not get over the incident yet? Or did she also get the news that Namikaze Minato disappeared? Hojumi Kangyu couldn't help thinking. In fact, Uzumaki Kushina didn't know that Namikaze Minato had disappeared. Sarutobi Hiruzen didn't dare to tell Uzumaki Kushina about this news, fearing that she would completely lose the faith to live. The reason why Uzumaki Kushina didn't show up was because she felt that she had no face to face Namikaze Minato. Because she lost her virginity and had someone else's child. Such a thing happened, so Uzumaki Kushina couldn't muster up the courage to face Namikaze Minato, and could only escape and hide in her room and cry silently. This celebration didn't last long, not because people felt there was nothing to celebrate, but because for the ninjas who returned from the front line, all celebrations were no match for 2 words. Go home. Soon, the bustling streets of Konoha became deserted, but the whole village was immersed in a warm ocean. But not all families are happy and warm. There are many families, destined to night with tears. Too many people died in this war, too many people lost their fathers and mothers, lost their husbands and wives, lost their sons and daughters. Those who promised to come back more than a year ago broke their promise, they can never come back, and what comes back are only some of their belongings. At night, Kizuki was lying on the bed in the residence arranged for him by Uchiha Mikoto in the Uchiha clan's living area, with nothing to do and a little bored. Mikoto must be with Uchiha Itachi today. The mother and son haven't seen each other for more than a year, and Uchiha Fugaku is dead. Mikoto didn't know how to tell Uchiha Itachi this fact. Hojumi Kangyu didn't bother Uchiha Mikoto's thoughts. Uchiha Fugaku was killed by him. If he still did something with Uchiha Mikoto at this time, it would be too beastly. So who should I find to relieve my loneliness tonight? Hojumi Kangyu thought about it. I definitely can't go to Uzumaki Kushina, at least not now. There must be many Anbu guarding there, and I can't do anything if I go. Then there is only one last choice. Thinking in his heart, Hojumi Kangyu separated a shadow clone and left it here, and the main body disappeared on the spot. He appeared again, already outside Konoha. Here, Kudech, is the Flying Thunder God ritual left by Hojumi Kangyu on the way back, which will make it convenient for him to leave the village at any time in the future. Looking around, Kizuki recalled the map he had seen and moved quickly in a certain direction. Not long after, he arrived at his destination. Looking at the orphanage in the distance, Kizuki smiled. Then, he quickly sneaked in under the cover of night and headed for the familiar room. In Yakushi Nono's room, Yakushi Nono sat at the desk looking at the orphanage's account book with a frown. Because of the war, the orphanage received less and less funding, and the children had not had a hearty dinner for a long time. In order to get more funding for the orphanage, she took a number of children who knew medical ninjutsu to the battlefield hospital to treat the wounded not long ago. Fortunately, they did not stay on the front line for long. Rock Shinobi started peace talks with Konoha, and the number of wounded dropped sharply, so she was able to take the children away from the dangerous front line in advance and return to the orphanage. However, although the war was over and the village had restored the orphanage's previous funding, because of the war, there were more children in the orphanage, and the barely sufficient funding became tight again. This made Yakushi Nono, the director, worried and anxious, but she couldn't find a solution for a while, and could only hope that the village would give more funding after reporting the situation to the village. But now that the war was just beginning, the village still had a lot of money to spend, and the additional funding for the orphanage was probably very limited. So, what should I do? Yakushi Nono looked worried. But immediately, her face changed, and her expression became cold. Who? Yakushi Nono spoke sharply, quickly got up from the chair, turned around and looked at the person behind her. Then, her pupils dilated, her body trembled, and her expression became even more frosty. Because what caught her eyes was the face that made her hate it. And that devil-like smile. Hojiki Kangyu looked at Yakushi Nono who was looking at him coldly, and a sad expression appeared on his face. I thought you would welcome me. As he said that, Hojiki Kangyu came to Yakushi Nono, reached out and gently stroked Yakushi Nono's face, feeling depressed. A day of marriage means 100 days of grace. Our relationship should not be like this. I don't ask you to smile at me, but I came here with full expectations, but I saw a cold face, which is really chilling. Kizuki looked at Yakushi Nono's calm eyes and continued, we can't be like this, our feelings can't be like this. So, let's do something that can warm up our feelings. Kizuki's eyes suddenly turned into eternal Mangekaya. Sharingan, and the Sharingan illusion was directly activated. Suddenly, Yakushi Arinohiro's body could not move. But she was conscious, looking at Kizuki's handsome face and her affectionate eyes, she had a bad premonition in her heart. Since the feelings of a day of marriage are not deep enough, then 100 days, 1,000 days, I believe that my hot soul will definitely melt the ice in your heart. After speaking, Kizuki picked up Princess Yakushi Nono and walked towards the bed. Chapter 68. I know it must be very hard for you to run such a big orphanage by yourself, and the expenses will be very high, so you can use these to buy good things for the children so that they can grow up healthy. Kizuki put on his clothes, took out 2 boxes from the storage scroll and put them on the ground. These boxes contained part of the bounty he earned when he was a bounty hunter. After putting the boxes down, Kizuki came to the bedside, bowed his head and kissed Yakushi Nono. Don't be sad because of our separation, it won't be long before we can meet again. After saying that, Kizuki untied Yakushi Nono's illusion, then came to the window and used body flicker technique to leave. Although it is more convenient to use Flying Thunder God technique, Kizuki doesn't want to expose the fact that he knows Flying Thunder God technique. For Flying Thunder God technique, it is better to wait until he becomes Hokage, or get the training method from Hokage before taking it out naturally. After Hoshiki Zangetsu had left for a long time, Yakushi Nono on the bed got up. She calmly put on her clothes, without any expression on her face, just silently wiped away the tears from the corners of her eyes, silently picked up the box left by Hoshiki Zangetsu and put it aside. Then she came to the desk and sat down, staring at the account book in a daze. This time was different from the last time. Last time she was unconscious, but this time, she was conscious. Konoha, Sarutobi Hiruzen's residence. It was already early in the morning, and almost everyone in the village had fallen asleep, but Sarutobi Hiruzen couldn't sleep. There were too many things blocking his heart, taking away his sleepiness. First of all, Namikaze Minato disappeared, and he hadn't appeared until now. This made Sarutobi Hiruzen feel very bad. Even if he didn't want to admit it in his heart, Sarutobi Hiruzen still felt that Namikaze Minato might have had an accident. Otherwise, he wouldn't have disappeared for so long without leaving any clues. Daziki. With a sigh, Sarutobi Hiruzen couldn't calm down. Namikaze Minato was his chosen successor. Sarutobi Hiruzen had planned to wait for Namikaze Minato to return to the village and then announce that Namikaze Minato would become the 4th Hokage of Konoha. It would also be a good way to shut up some people in the village. After all, in the peace talks with Uegakure, he signed a treaty that many people could not accept. Give up asking for war compensation from Uegakure. This matter has caused dissatisfaction among many people, but because the war was not over before, the family kept it in their hearts and did not point it out. Now that the war is over, when those people return to the village, Sarutobi Hiruzen believes that many people will come to him to ask for an explanation. In this case, it is better to abdicate directly and let Minato become the new Hokage. As a result, the successor he chose now mysteriously disappeared. This made Sarutobi Hiruzen very upset. The issue of succession to the Hokage is not a big deal. What Sarutobi Hiruzen fears most is that if Namikaze Minato really gets into trouble, his body will be discovered by people from other villages first. This war has just ended. If the war breaks out again because of Namikaze Minato's death, can Konoha still withstand it? After all, by then, it may not be Cloud Shinobi Village Uegakure and Kirigakure. Tsunagakure is likely to join in the fun. And Konoha, which has paid a heavy price in this war, can it still win a new war? Thinking of the number of casualties in Konoha in this war, and thinking of his second son Sarutobi Asuma who died in this war, Sarutobi Hiruzen felt heavy and painful. He never wanted to see Konoha's ninjas sacrificed again. I hope Minato is fine, just trapped somewhere, and will be out of trouble soon. Sarutobi Hiruzen prayed in his heart. But he knew in his heart that this possibility was really low. Therefore, we must be prepared for the possibility that something bad has happened to Minato. The second thing is the issue of the next Hokage. This issue is not a big deal. Although Namikaze Minato is the best successor in his heart, before Namikaze Minato's rise, the next Hokage he identified in his heart was his disciple Orochimaru. With Orochimaru's ability and reputation, there is absolutely no problem for him to succeed the Hokage. He is very relieved to hand over Konoha to Orochimaru. The reason why Namikaze Minato was chosen later was because Orochimaru had some problems. His methods began to become a little dark and his personality was gloomy. He was not as upright and sunny as Namikaze Minato. Namikaze Minato was more suitable for Konoha than Orochimaru. But now that Namikaze Minato may have problems, he can only hand Konoha over to Orochimaru. He still has 2 disciples, but Tsunade has left the village due to hemophobia, and Jiraiya's personality is too jumpy. Both of them are not suitable to be Hokage. As for the other Sarutobi Hiruzen doesn't a Euro trademark T think anyone else can take on the position of Hokage. Especially Denzo, he is too dark and too extreme. Denzo can hold the sharpest knife in Konoha Euro trademark S dark, but he cannot let him hold the brightest sword of power in Konoha. Once Denzo becomes Hokage, Konoha Euro trademark S future will inevitably be war. It will be difficult for the ninja world to be peaceful again. In addition to the Hokage issue, Sarutobi Hiruzen has a third thing in his heart that makes him headache. Uzumaki Kushina, how to deal with it. After what happened to her, her whole mood has become very unstable, and she has even committed suicide. If Uzumaki Kushina knew that Namikaze Minato might be dead Sarutobi Hiruzen can be sure that Uzumaki Kushina will die. But she must not die, at least, before the 9 tails in her body are transferred to the body of the next Jinchuriki. Because Konoha cannot lose the 9 tails. This is Konoha's last trump card, and it is also the amulet that can ensure that Konoha will not be completely destroyed even if it loses the war. 9 tails must be alive, 9 tails Jinchuriki must be alive. Oh therefore, Uzumaki Kushina must not be allowed to know that Namikaze Minato is very likely to be in trouble. Once she knows, no one can stop Uzumaki Kushina from dying. But you can hide it for a while, but not for a lifetime. Based on his understanding of Uzumaki Kushina, even if Uzumaki Kushina has not yet come out of that incident, Uzumaki Juxin will definitely want to see Namikaze Minato. What should be done then? Say that Namikaze Minato is on a mission and is not in the village? Or find a substitute to pretend to be Namikaze Minato to meet Uzumaki Kushina. This is not a long-term solution, and Sarutobi Hiruzen does not think that anyone can pretend to be Minato in front of Uzumaki Kushina. Unless Namikaze Minato doesn't want to see Uzumaki Kushina. Sarutobi Hiruzen thought to himself. But how could Namikaze Minato not want to see Uzumaki Kushina? This is impossible. Even if he knew what happened to Uzumaki Kushina, Namikaze Minato would go to see Uzumaki Kushina without hesitation. Sarutobi Hiruzen knew this, and he believed that Uzumaki Kushina also knew this. So Sarutobi Hiruzen felt that he had to speed up. Taking advantage of the period when Uzumaki Kushina had not come out of it, and had not yet realized that Namikaze Minato might have been in trouble, he looked for a new 9 tails Jinchuriki and transferred 9 tails into the new Jinchuriki as soon as possible. Although doing so would cause Uzumaki Kushina, who had lost 9 tails, to die, he had no choice. Between 9 tails and Uzumaki Kushina, he had to choose 9 tails. Moreover, death might be a relief for Uzumaki Kushina. Sarutobi Hiruzen thought so in his heart. Chapter 69. Time flies by. In a blink of an eye, it has been several days since Kizuki arrived in Konoha. In these few days, he has completely integrated into the Uchiha clan. The people of Uchiha all know that the genius Uchiha Kizuki who suddenly appeared in their clan has a tragic life experience. This makes some people sympathize with Kizuki. In addition, Kizuki's handsome face makes him gain the favor of almost all the women of the Uchiha clan. From old ladies to little Lolita, all ages are taken. Especially young women, many young girls in Uchiha look at Kizuki with eyes that are almost drawn. Some bold girls even express their affection to Kizuki directly. But for those women who showed their affection to him, Kizuki didn't give any positive response. Love? Ha! Love and love will only affect the speed of his becoming stronger. Of course, if these 290 girls who showed their affection to him can be selected as the target of the strategy by the system, then the above sentence will be regarded as Kizuki didn't say it. Speaking of the strategy, Hojiki Zangetsu was a little worried. Uchiha Mikoto's strategy progress has reached 80%, and the relationship between the two has reached the peak of lovers. As long as they increase their relationship by 1%, they can break through to the point of being unmarried. But it is this point of strategy that makes Hojiki Zangetsu stuck in the relationship of lovers. This is different from what Hojiki Zangetsu expected. In his expectation, after returning to Konoha, his relationship with Uchiha Mikoto will soon be able to break through. However, the fact is not so. Hojiki Zangetsu analyzed the reason and guessed that it might be because of Uchiha Taki. Uchiha Mikoto returned to Konoha and saw Uchiha Taki, and naturally he couldn't help but miss him. This is actually not a big deal. Uchiha Fugaku's shadow in Uchiha Mikoto's heart has become increasingly faint, and Hojiki Zangetsu is confident that he will soon replace him. Hojiki Zangetsu guessed that the most important reason is because she is Uchiha Itake's mother. With this identity and Uchiha Itake right beside her, how could Uchiha Mikoto have the nerve to be intimate with Hojiki Zangetsu in the Uchiha clan? She was always afraid that Uchiha Itake would accidentally notice the relationship between her and Hojiki Zangetsu. It was also because of her mother that Missy restrained herself. So, should she find a way to kill Uchiha Itake? Hojiki Zangetsu couldn't help thinking. If it was the future Uchiha Itake, Hojiki Zangetsu might still be afraid. After all, Uchiha Itake's IQ was too high. Even if he knew Uchiha Itake's trump cards, Hojiki Zangetsu couldn't guarantee that he knew all of Uchiha Itake's trump cards. Just like when Uchiha Itake died in the duel with Uchiha Sasuke, who would have thought that he didn't have a hand of Izumi behind him. But that was the future Uchiha Itake. The current Uchiha Itake is just a 4-year-old child. Wanting to kill him is no different from pinching an ant to him. But after thinking about it, he gave up the plan. It's not that he is soft-hearted. It's because if he kills Uchiha Itake, his strategy for Uchiha Mikoto will not improve quickly, but will stay at 80% for the rest of his life. In this way, either he will use love without regret on Uchiha Mikoto forever, or he will kill Uchiha Mikoto. Because there is no doubt that if he kills Uchiha Itake, once he takes off love without regret from Uchiha Mikoto will definitely fight him to the death. Therefore, the solution to Uchiha Itake's problem cannot be solved by killing. Uchiha Itake cannot die. Then, how can he improve the progress of the strategy for Uchiha Mikoto while ensuring the safety of Uchiha Itake? Hojiki thought with a sad face and gloomy clouds. But soon his expression relaxed. Since he couldn't capture her, he should change his target. Now he is a Konoha shinobi, and a genius of the famous Uchiha clan. No one would say anything if he fell in love with Kurenai, right? It would be much easier to capture a girl like Kurenai. Even though Kurenai is still young and her mind may not be very mature and firm, he only raised the capture progress to the level of lovers, but it was enough. Anyway, as long as he raised Kurenai's capture rate by more than 60%, he would be able to unlock the next capture target. By then, he might be able to capture the newly unlocked target quickly. Thinking in his heart, Kizuki was ready to find an opportunity to see if he could encounter Kurenai by chance. It happened that he stayed in the Uchiha clan every day these days and didn't have time to walk around Konoha. However, just when Kizuki decided to capture Kurenai, a voice suddenly sounded in his mind. Ding! Congratulations host, the progress of the Uchiha Mikoto strategy has reached 81%. Kizuki Kangyu was stunned. What's going on? Mikoto's strategy progress, why did it suddenly improve? Kizuki Kangyu was confused and didn't know why. The progress of the strategy that had been stuck for so long suddenly broke through. What happened? Confused, Kizuki Kangyu went directly to the Uchiha clan's patriarch's mansion. He wanted to see what the reason was. Could it be that Mikoto had come to his senses? Kizuki Kangyu guessed in his heart and soon arrived at the patriarch's mansion. Is the madam at home? I have something to report to you. Standing at the door of the patriarch's mansion, Wei Kangyu spoke to several people. Soon, a little boy appeared in Kizuki Kangyu's sight. Senior Zangetsu, mother asks you to come in. It was Uchiha Itake. He naturally knew Zangetsu Hojiki. The two had a brief exchange before. At that time, Uchiha Itake wanted to call Zangetsu Hojiki brother Zangetsu, but was stopped by Uchiha Mikoto, who asked him to call Zangetsu Hojiki senior Zangetsu. Thank you, Itake. Zangetsu Hojiki nodded to Uchiha Itake and followed Uchiha Itake into the house. Mother, senior Zangetsu is here. After entering the house, Zangetsu Hojiki saw Uchiha Mikoto kneeling and looking out the window in a daze. Her face was a little pale, and the whole person was not in a good state. She looked dazed, which made Zangetsu Hojiki frown. Hearing Uchiha Itake's voice, Uchiha Mikoto came back to her senses. She looked at Zangetsu Hojiki and her pale face turned red. Then Mikoto looked at Uchiha Itake, and Itake said, Itake, you go out first. Okay, mother. Uchiha Itake exited the house 1.7 and closed the door when he left. Mikoto, what's wrong with you? You don't look very well. Hojiki Zangetsu came to sit opposite Uchiha Mikoto and asked with concern. Hearing this, Uchiha Mikoto's face turned even redder. But she just lowered her head and didn't speak. This made Hojiki Zangetsu even more confused. Mikoto, tell me what happened. No matter what it is, I can help you solve it. Don't worry, I'll take care of everything. Hojiki Zangetsu spoke, wondering if the Uchiha clan was forcing Uchiha Mikoto to choose a new clan leader, or if the Konoha high-level officials made some excessive demands on Uchiha. However, the silent Uchiha Mikoto suddenly spoke, shocking Hojiki Zangetsu to stand up. I might be pregnant. Uchiha Mikoto spoke, her face was already red with her head down. Chapter 70. Pregnant? Hojiki Zangetsu froze in place for a moment, never expecting this answer. But on second thought, this answer seemed the most reasonable. It best explained why his progress in conquering Mikoto suddenly increased to 81%, entering the husband and wife stage. Because of the child. Uchiha Itake is the child of Mikoto and Uchiha Fugaku, so his existence hindered Zangetsu's conquering Uchiha Mikoto. And the child in Mikoto's belly is his and Mikoto's child, so his conquering Uchiha Mikoto broke through. It seems that the child is really important to Mikoto. Hojiki Zangetsu's inner thoughts flashed through his mind. I'm going to be a father. His face showed a surprised expression. No matter what Hoshiki Zangetsu thought about the child, he had to show surprise now. If he hesitated and said something about aborting the child, Hoshiki Zangetsu believed that his conquering progress on Uchiha Mikoto would stop at 23. To be honest, with the current progress of the strategy, it would not be a big deal even if it was stopped. After all, at the stage of husband and wife, all the rewards that should be taken have been taken. Going up, there are 2 mysterious rewards. And since we don't know what the mysterious rewards are anyway, it's okay to give them up. But Kitten Kangyu still held back. He wanted to know what the 2 rewards were. He didn't want to take off Uchiha Mikoto's AI Wahui right now. Somehow, Kitten Kangyu didn't want to make the woman in front of him sad. This is probably because Mikoto has never had any ill will towards him. Even if all this is because of AI Wahui. But even if AI Wahui wove their relationship into a beautiful but illusory dream, Kitten Kangyu was unwilling to wake up from the dream. He seemed a little afraid to see Mikoto looking at him with the eyes of an enemy. Since this is a dream, let the dream never wake up. Yet. Uchiha Mikoto hummed shyly, and seeing the surprise revealed by Hoshiki Kangyu, her fear, confusion, and anxiety disappeared. She was really afraid that Hoshiki Kangyu would not want this child. This is also the reason why she looked dazed and pale when Hoshiki Kangyu saw Mikoto just now. Because she thought of the scene where Hoshiki Kangyu said coldly that she would abort the baby. Great, great. Mikoto, we have a child, and what I said before is slowly coming true. Hoshiki Kangyu came to Uchiha Mikoto and hugged her in his arms, his tone excited and gentle. I don't know if it's Shizuke or Sakura in your belly. Do you like boys or girls? I like both, but it's better to be a girl. Girls are the sweetest little cotton-padded jackets of their fathers. If he and Uchiha Mikoto have a child, the boy will be named Uchiha Shizuke and the girl will be named Uchiha Sakura. This is what Kitano Kangyu had said to Uchiha Mikoto before. Unexpectedly, it came true. Speaking of children, Kitano Kangyu began to talk endlessly. Although he didn't like children very much, Mikoto did. So he could only rack his brains to pretend that he liked them too. The effect of doing so was also very obvious. Mikoto, who was lying on Kitano Kangyu, looked at the excited Kitano Kangyu and showed a happy smile on her face. When a housewife takes care of her husband and children, and the family lives happily, this is the life she wants in her heart. B. What's wrong, Mikoto? Don't you like children? Kitano Kangyu, who was talking excitedly about how to raise children in the future, saw Mikoto's face suddenly changed and asked. Hearing this, Uchiha Mikoto shook her head. I'm worried about Itaki. I don't know how to tell him about us. I don't know if he can accept our relationship. Will he dislike his younger brother and sister? Uchiha Mikoto said worriedly, with a worried look on her face. Hearing this, Kitten Kangyu didn't know how to deal with it for a while. After all, her father had only been dead for a year, and her mother secretly got pregnant with someone else's child. This kind of thing would probably cause a great psychological blow to a mature child. Itaki. Let me handle this. I will talk to him clearly. Kitten Kangyu spoke. Uchiha Mikoto couldn't be asked to tell Uchiha Itaki about this kind of thing. Although Kitten Kangyu hadn't figured out how to tell Uchiha Itaki about this. Uchiha Mikoto lay in Kitten Kangyu's arms in silence. She was worried in her heart, but she couldn't find a better solution. After a while, Uchiha Mikoto suddenly spoke. Kangyu, you should be the leader of Uchiha. Hearing this, Kitten Zuin was stunned, then nodded. Okay. It is indeed time for him to become the head of the Uchiha clan. Mikoto is pregnant. Whether the Uchiha clan members know about this or not, she is not suitable to continue to lead the Uchiha clan. Besides, Mikoto herself does not like to be the leader. I will manage the Uchiha first, and when Itaki grows up, I will let him be the head of the Uchiha clan. Hoshiki Zangetsu hugged Mikoto and spoke. These words were not lies to deceive Uchiha Mikoto, but Hoshiki Zangetsu's true thoughts. The clan leader was just a tool for Hoshiki Zangetsu to get some conveniences. It was impossible for him to work hard for Uchiha. In the future, he can just give it to Uchiha Itaki. 427 Of course the premise is that Uchiha Itaki can accept his relationship with Uchiha Mikoto. Otherwise. Then I will announce it to the clan tomorrow. There may be some opposition at that time, but after knowing that you also have Mangekaya Sharingan, those opposition voices will surely disappear soon. Uchiha Mikoto spoke. The reason why the Uchiha clan has not elected a new clan leader for a year after the clan leader died and has always let her, the clan leader Ayuro trademark S-wife, lead is because of the Mangekaya Sharingan. These eyes are really sacred in the hearts of the Uchiha clan members, making them crazy about them. If Kitano Zangetsu didn't Ayuro trademark T have Mangekaya Sharingan, even if Uchiha Mikoto recommended him to become the new clan leader of the Uchiha clan, Ayuro trademark, I'm afraid many people in the Uchiha clan would oppose it. But Kitano Zangetsu has Mangekaya Sharingan. Uchiha Mikoto believes that tomorrow, as long as Kitano Zangetsu takes out his Mangekaya Sharingan, all opposition will disappear instantly, and all doubts will turn into fanaticism. This is the charm of Mangekaya Sharingan in the hearts of the Uchiha clan members, and it can even be said to be magic. Ayuro lead Ayuro trademark S, do it tomorrow. The sooner the Uchiha clan is handed over to me, the sooner you can relax. I feel very distressed to see you worrying about the clan Ayuro trademark S affairs every day. Hidden Kangyu spoke, then lowered his head and kissed Uchiha Mikoto's forehead. Chapter 71. Uchiha Clan, Shrine. At this time, many Uchiha elites are here. They received news last night that today, Madam Uchiha Mikoto has an important announcement. What do you think the madam will announce? Someone whispered to the people around him. Yesterday, when Madam's guard Uchiha Bluebird came to notify, he said that those who received the notice must attend today's party. I don't know. The war is over. There shouldn't be anything important. The person being asked shook his head. Who said there is nothing important? Don't forget, the clan leader. Clan leader. Yes, the clan leader has sacrificed for so long, and a new clan leader should be elected. A euro iso, madam, are you planning to let Master Itachi succeed as the clan leader? A euro etheta euro trademark s impossible, Master Itachi is too young, he euro trademark s only 5 years old, a euro etheta euro trademark s true euro could it be theta euro madam wants to become the clan leader. A euro humph, how can we Uchiha let a woman be the clan leader? A euro but madam has the main Jikaya. Sharingan, a euro even if you have the main Jikaya. Sharingan, it won a euro trademark T-work a euro you can let Master Itachi grow up and then succeed as the clan leader. People were whispering and speculating, most of the content was about the new leader of the Uchiha clan. This topic has actually been shelved for a year. In theory, after Uchiha Fugaku's death, they should have discussed who would succeed the position of clan leader. The reason why no one has mentioned this matter is because Uchiha Mikoto has opened the main Jikaya. Sharingan, and these eyes are enough to suppress all disputes. They accepted Uchiha Mikoto as the new leader of the Uchiha clan. They thought that Uchiha Mikoto would lead the Uchiha clan, and wait until Uchiha Itachi grows up, and then succeed the position of clan leader. But it is okay to accept Uchiha Mikoto as the leader, and it is also okay to wait for Uchiha Itachi to become the clan leader. However, if Uchiha Mikoto proposed that she wanted to be the clan leader of the Uchiha clan, even if Uchiha Mikoto had the main Jikaya Sharingan, there would still be many Uchiha who could not accept it. After all, there has never been a female clan leader in the history of the Uchiha clan. The lady is here a euro. Suddenly someone raised his voice and everyone fell silent, looking towards the door. Soon, Uchiha Mikoto appeared in everyone's sight. Behind her were Uchiha Aoki and Kizuki. Uchiha Mikoto sat down in front of everyone, looking at everyone who was looking at her. Uchiha Mikoto lowered her voice and said, "It has been a year since Fugaku's sacrifice. During this time, the position of the clan leader has been vacant. Today I have gathered everyone here to discuss the new clan leader of our clan." As soon as these words came out, everyone's expression became serious, and their eyes were fixed on Uchiha Mikoto, waiting for her next words. If Uchiha Mikoto said next that Uchiha Itachi should succeed as the clan leader, then they would support it, but there was a condition, that is, they had to wait until Uchiha Itachi came of age. If Uchiha Mikoto said that she would take over the position of clan leader, then they would firmly oppose it, and then persuade Uchiha Mikoto to wait for Uchiha Itachi to grow up and let Uchiha Itachi succeed as the clan leader. Uchiha Mikoto could roughly guess what the clan members were thinking, and she continued to speak without changing her expression. "I recommend that Uchiha Zanjayu succeed as the clan leader of the Uchiha clan." As soon as these words came out, it was earth-shattering, and everyone was in an uproar. Uchiha Zanjayu. Let him be the clan leader? I object. Did I hear correctly? Shouldn't Master Itachi be the clan leader? How can this be possible? What qualifications does Uchiha Kangyu have to be the clan leader? There are many people who are more suitable than Uchiha Kangyu. The crowd suddenly became noisy. No one expected that Uchiha Mikoto would recommend Hojumi Kangyu to be the new clan leader of the Uchiha clan. This was beyond everyone's expectations. Quiet. A strong voice sounded, suppressing everyone's voices and making the scene quiet again. The one who spoke was one of the elders of the Uchiha clan, named Uchiha Yushi. He was highly respected and his words carried a lot of weight in the Uchiha clan. "Mikoto, the Uchiha clan does need a new clan leader, but this does not mean that the Uchiha clan needs a new leader now. You have the main Jikaya Sharingan, and these eyes are enough for you to lead the Uchiha clan to glory. Regarding the clan leader, I think you can take over the duties temporarily, and wait until Itachi grows up before he succeeds the position of clan leader." Uchiha will speak, and immediately got the approval and echo of many people. "Yes, madam, we are not in a hurry to elect a new clan leader. We can wait for Master Itachi to grow up. Uchiha Kangyu is too young, he is not suitable to be the new clan leader. I support Master Itachi to become the clan leader. Even if a clan leader really needs to be elected, it should not be Uchiha Kangyu. There are many people who are more suitable than Uchiha Kangyu. Please think twice, madam." One by one, Uchiha spoke. In terms of strength, although Hojiki Kangyu performed very well in the war, his strength is also obvious to all and has been recognized by everyone. But Hojiki Zangetsu is too young after all, and he appeared too suddenly. He has no foundation in the Uchiha clan, so how could anyone support him? If we talk about talent, there are several young Uchiha in the 3 Tomo Sharingan among the Uchiha present. And there are all the older Uchiha with 3 Megatama here. So no matter how you look at it, Hojiki Zangetsu is not qualified to be the new clan leader. Quiet. Uchiha Mikoto spoke, and everyone was quiet. She said, "Itachi can be the clan leader in the future, but Itachi is too young, he is only 5 years old, and he still has 13 years to wait until he becomes an adult. How can the Uchiha clan be without a clan leader for 13 years? However, as soon as Uchiha Mikoto finished speaking, someone immediately said, "But Uchiha Zangetsu should not be the successor to the position of clan leader. It's not that I am targeting Uchiha Zangetsu, but no matter from the perspective of strength, talent, bloodline, or even age, there are more suitable candidates. As soon as this was said, a group of people agreed. No, you are wrong. Uchiha Mikoto spoke, and everyone calmed down again, and looked at Uchiha second. I know that Uchiha Kangyu trademark S bloodline is not the same as the clan leader trademark S, and I also know that Uchiha Kangyu is only 18 years old, but I still chose him to succeed the position of clan leader, naturally because I have reasons that can convince everyone. Uchiha Mikoto said, turning his head to look at Hoshiki Kangyu behind him. Kangyu, let them see why you are the best candidate for the new clan leader of the Uchiha clan. Hearing this, everyone looked at Kitano Zangetsu. They wanted to see why Uchiha Mikoto was so determined to choose Kitano Zangetsu, and see what reason Uchiha Mikoto said could convince everyone. Unless he has Manjakaya. Manjakaya. Sharingan. Looking at Kitano Zangetsu's changing eyes, almost everyone stood up in shock, staring at Kitano Zangetsu's eternal Manjakaya. With wide eyes. This is the qualification. Uchiha Mikoto spoke, and the eyes of the Uchiha clan changed from scrutiny, suspicion, indifference, etc. to fanaticism. The Uchiha clan actually has a pair of Manjakaya. Sharingan. Chapter 72. Manjakaya. Sharingan. When Kitano Kangetsu showed his eternal Manjakaya. Sharingan, all doubts and dissatisfaction completely disappeared. All opposition turned into support in an instant. This is the charm of these eyes in the Uchiha clan. Especially after seeing the power of Uchiha Mikoto's Manjakaya. Sharingan on the battlefield, the members of the Uchiha clan became more fanatical about Manjakaya. Sharingan. Because they clearly felt the power of Manjakaya. Sharingan, they were sure that these eyes would be enough to lead the Uchiha clan to glory as the legend said. And now, Kitano Kangetsu also showed them this pair of legendary eyes. Showing his qualifications to become the new patriarch of the Uchiha clan. Next, everything went smoothly. No one objected to Kitano Kangetsu's succession as the patriarch. Even though Kitano Kangetsu was only 18 years old. But this age that they questioned before has become a plus point at this time. Possessing the Manjakaya. Sharingan at the age of 18 is enough to prove how terrible the potential of Kitano Kangetsu is. His future will definitely become even stronger. I agree with Mrs. Mikoto's proposal that Uchiha Kangetsu will become the new head of the Uchiha clan. Uchiha was the first to speak up, and the others heard it and began to express their opinions one by one, always believing that the new head of the Uchiha clan can only be Kitano Kangetsu. Thank you for your support, Mrs. Mikoto. Uchiha Kangetsu will definitely live up to your trust and will use these eyes to lead Toyokaha to a more glorious future. Kitano Kangetsu spoke, and his confident tone and those charming eyes made everyone crazy. So far, the youngest head of the Uchiha clan was born. And then, invitations were sent out from the Uchiha clan. Invite all the major families in Konoha to watch the succession ceremony of Uchiha Kangetsu's head in 10 days. As for why it was 10 days later, on the one hand, it takes time to prepare for the ceremony, not to mention such an important ceremony for the succession of the flag chief. In addition to this reason, another reason is that the ninjas from the battlefields of Uegakure and Cloud Shinobi village have not returned yet, and they will arrive in Konoha in 2 days. So many clan leaders and many elite ninjas are not in Konoha now. As the strongest ninja clan in Konoha, the Uchiha, held such a significant ceremony. It is indeed impossible to have only 2 or 3 big cats and small cats at the ceremony. It is really not a show. Hokage office. The tired third Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen looked at the invitation in his hand with surprise. CDFJ. He looked at the name on the invitation, surprised and puzzled. Sarutobi Hiruzen remembered this name. Yudin Kohara had reported to him before that the Uchiha clan might privately raise ninjas. But Sarutobi Hiruzen didn't take it to heart. Among all the major families, there are always a few clan members who are not registered as ninjas. There are always some things that require special people to do. It is normal for the Uchiha clan to have such an unregistered ninja. But such a ninja who is similar to a dead soldier actually became the clan leader of the Uchiha clan? This is really surprising. Did the people of the Uchiha clan not oppose it? Or is the opposition invalid? Or, this move has ulterior motives? Sarutobi Hiruzen thought about it and his brows relaxed. He felt that he had grasped the truth. The Uchiha clan could not let Uchiha Mikoto become the clan leader, because even if Uchiha Mikoto has the Manjakaya Sharingan, she is still a woman after all. But the Uchiha clan needs a new clan leader. Therefore, the truth that Uchiha Zangetsu became the clan leader of the Uchiha clan is obvious. Obviously, he is just a puppet in the hands of Uchiha Mikoto. Uchiha Zangetsu is nominally the head of the Uchiha clan, but in fact, the Uchiha clan is still led and controlled by Uchiha Mikoto. As for why Uchiha Zangetsu was chosen instead of others, it is also very simple. Uchiha Zangetsu was secretly cultivated by Uchiha Fugaku and Uchiha Mikoto, and he is naturally absolutely loyal to Uchiha Mikoto. And Uchiha Mikoto also trusts Uchiha Zangetsu. She will not worry about being betrayed by Uchiha Zangetsu. Even if she is really betrayed by Uchiha Zangetsu, it is no big deal for Uchiha Mikoto. Because Uchiha Mikoto has Manjakaya Sharingan. This is Uchiha Mikoto's greatest confidence. After thinking clearly, Sarutobi Hiruzen put down the invitation. But his relaxed brows frowned again. Because there is still no news about Namikaze Minato, and Uzumaki Kushina can no longer hide it. Thinking of this, Sarutobi Hiruzen felt tired. If he had thought that Namikaze Minato might have been delayed by something important before, then after so many days, Sarutobi Hiruzen knew that Namikaze Minato was most likely in trouble. This puzzled Sarutobi Hiruzen. He couldn't figure out who could make Namikaze Minato, who possessed the Flying Thunder God technique, get in trouble, and even couldn't escape. How terrible would such a person's experience be? This made Sarutobi Hiruzen confused and heavy-hearted. If it was some kind of magical secret technique, it would be fine. If it was a hard power that crushed Namikaze Minato and left him no chance to escape, then the person in the dark was too terrible. But that was fine. Now the most pressing issue was the problem of Uzumaki Kushina. It had been several days since Minato Gai returned. For such a long time, Minato has not met Uzumaki Kushina, which makes Uzumaki Kushina desperate, thinking that Namikaze Minato already knows her experience and is disgusted with her. Uzumaki Kushina cried for a long time for this. But after crying for 2 days, Uzumaki Kushina calmed down. She just said to Sarutobi Biwako expressionlessly that she would take the initiative to meet Namikaze Minato. But how could Namikaze Minato go to meet her? Sarutobi Hiruzen knew that the worst situation might be about to happen. If Namikaze Minato does not meet Uzumaki Kushina will definitely be completely desperate, and she might really die. Telling Uzumaki Kushina that Namikaze Minato may have died, there is no need to think about it, Uzumaki Kushina will definitely follow. But this is not the most important thing. The most important thing is that the village has not found a suitable candidate to become the new Nine Tails human pillar calendar. This is what makes Sarutobi Hiruzen most anxious. Not only Sarutobi Hiruzen, but all the major ninja clans in Konoha have received invitations from the Uchiha clan, knowing that the new clan leader of the Uchiha clan has been born. When everyone saw that the new clan leader was Uchiha Zangetsu, they were all surprised. This was a candidate they had never thought of. After being surprised, the major ninja clans began to collect information about Uchiha Zangetsu and analyze the intention of the Shiha clan to let Uchiha Zangetsu be the new flag leader. The analysis results are consistent with Sarutobi Hiruzen's analysis. They all think that Uchiha Zangetsu is a puppet pushed out by Uchiha Mikoto. The real person in charge of the Uchiha clan is still Uchiha Mikoto. Chapter 73. Back, they're back. Welcome home. Sasaki, look here. Long live Konoha. Ah, Lord Orochimaru. Lord Jiraiya. Daddy, here. Konoha was once again in a sea of Euro joy. The ninjas who had gone to Cloud Shinobi Village and Uegakure returned today. Hoseki Zangetsu was also at the scene, but he was not squeezed in the crowd, but stood behind the third Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen, standing with some other ninja clan leaders and elite ninjas. After all, Hoseki Zangetsu is the future clan leader of the Uchiha clan. Although the ceremony has not yet been held, it is already a done deal, and he is naturally qualified to stand here. Soon, Shimura Danza came with Orochimaru, Jiraiya, and others, followed by Yama Useda, Narashikaku, Akamichi Choza, Yamanaka Haiju, and others. They are all high-ranking figures of Konoha, elite ninjas. When Uchiha Kangyu looked at these familiar strangers, many people also cast their eyes on him. They wondered how this young ninja could stand in this position. But soon, they knew. The 18-year-old young man named Uchiha Kangyu turned out to be the new patriarch of the Uchiha clan. This was too surprising. What virtue and ability did he have? Soon, these elites were all thoughtful. The look they gave Uchiha Kangyu was also implicitly contemptuous. Obviously, they all regarded Uchiha Kangyu as a puppet of Uchiha Mikoto. It was impossible for Uchiha Kangyu to explain anything about this. On the contrary, when he found himself being despised like this, Uchiha Kangyu couldn't help but smile in his heart. This would help him hide himself more. Then there was another grand celebration, and the whole Konoha was jubilant, and people were in high spirits and smiling. But these were just ordinary people. None of the high-ranking ninjas of Konoha could laugh. Hokage Building, in the meeting room. Sarutobi Hiruzen, Shimura Danza, Yudin Koharu, Mitokedo Homura, Jiraiya, Orochimaru, Narashikaku, and others were sitting there. How is it possible? How could Minato be in trouble? Jiraiya's eyes widened, and he stood up from his chair. He slammed his hands on the table, staring at Sarutobi Hiruzen, his tone full of disbelief. Not to mention Jiraiya, even old foxes like Shimura Danza showed a stunned expression, and Orochimaru and Narashikaku were also shocked. It was because the news that Sarutobi Hiruzen just said was too shocking. No one could imagine that Namikaze Minato was in trouble. The Namikaze Minato they just saw was an Anbu disguised with transformation technique. No wonder Namikaze Minato was not here. His expression returned to calm, and Shimura Danza suddenly realized. Afterwards, he felt mixed emotions. The good news was that Namikaze Minato was in trouble, and he had a better chance of becoming Hokage. The bad news was that Namikaze Minato was really important to Konoha, and if he wasn't careful about the possibility of Namikaze Minato getting into trouble, Konoha might suffer a heavy loss. We can't figure out why Minato got into trouble. He has the Flying Thunder God technique, so no one should be able to trap him. Yudin Koharu said. Unless. She hesitated, and Orochimaru took over the conversation directly. Unless Minato was killed in an instant, and he didn't even have time to use the Flying Thunder God technique. Orochimaru said, his eyes solemn. How is this possible? Even if Minato is really not an opponent, he shouldn't be killed before he even has time to use the Flying Thunder God, right? Jiraiya retorted loudly. He knew Namikaze Minato too well and knew how powerful Namikaze Minato's Flying Thunder God was. It's not like they haven't fought against powerful opponents before. They had also encountered the siege of a large number of ninjas led by 4 Tails Jinchuriki and 5 Tails Jinchuriki before, but they were all easily escaped by Namikaze Minato. Jiraiya couldn't imagine how powerful a person must be to kill Namikaze Minato before he could even use Flying Thunder God. What if someone suddenly attacks Minato when he is not prepared? Orochimaru looked at the angry Jiraiya and said faintly, a person who takes Minato off guard and has the ability to kill Minato instantly or control Minato so that he cannot use Flying Thunder God technique can naturally kill him before Minato uses Flying Thunder God. After these words came out, Jiraiya was stunned, and then frowned. Such conditions sound incredible, but this is the ninja world, there are too many mysterious and powerful techniques that can prevent Namikaze Minato from using Flying Thunder God, and Konoha has many. For example, the shadow imitation technique of the Nara clan, the heart transfer technique of the Yamanaka clan, and some powerful illusions and immobilization techniques can do it. But it is not an easy thing to use these techniques to control Namikaze Minato. The strength of the person who can stably control Minato should not be underestimated. There is no ninja in the Nara clan who can do this, even if I do it. Narashikaku spoke. Although their clan's shadow imitation technique can indeed control Namikaze Minato and prevent him from using the Flying Thunder God technique, it is not difficult for Namikaze Minato to break free from their shadows with his strength. Unless Namikaze Minato was killed the moment he was controlled by the shadow imitation technique. Then, this would involve multiple people committing the crime. But there is no reason. What is the motive for the crime? Killing Namikaze Minato would not benefit them, the ninja clan. And if it was someone from another village who committed the crime, there should not be any movement for such a long period of time. 0. Where did Minato disappear? Jiraiya spoke. He still didn't want to believe that Minato had been in trouble, so he decided to find him himself. This is the information we collected after Minato disappeared. Hearing this, Mikoto Homura pushed the file in front of him from the table to Jiraiya. Jiraiya took the information and flipped through it quickly. There was very little information in it, and he finished reading it quickly. However, after reading it, Jiraiya frowned even deeper. Because there was not much valuable information in this information. So the young ninja who left with Minato, you still don't know his information. Jiraiya looked at Mikoto Homura and Yuden Koharu. Mikoto Homura lowered his head in shame, and Yuden Koharu sighed. Yes, it was too chaotic that day. Everyone was packing their luggage to go back to the village, so they didn't pay much attention to the appearance of the young man, and they couldn't confirm who he was. Yuden Koharu spoke, and it was for this reason that their investigation into the disappearance of Namikaze Minato had not made any progress. I'm going to look for Minato. Jiraiya said. Namikaze Minato is his disciple, and in his heart, he has long regarded Namikaze Minato as his own family. So he must find Minato back. Jiraiya. However, just as Jiraiya was about to leave, Sarutobi Hiruzen called him back. In addition to Minato's matter, there is another very important thing you need to do. Sarutobi Hiruzen said, he needed Jiraiya to go to Uzumaki Kushina's place. Chapter 74. The cold wind blew through Konoha under the setting sun, bringing a chill to people. On the rooftop of the Hokage's office, on the balcony, Sarutobi Hiruzen and Jiraiya stood by the guardrail. Old man, what is more important than looking for Minato? Jiraiya spoke, his tone a little low. He was originally a bohemian person, laughing and joking on weekdays, but at this time his face was heavy and there was no smile at all. Hearing this, Sarutobi Hiruzen looked at Jiraiya. This matter. Alas, it's about Kushina. Kushina? What's wrong with her? She doesn't know the news of Minato's disappearance yet. You hid it from her? If you can't hide it anymore, let me lie to her. Jiraiya frowned and spoke. No, if it was just like this, things wouldn't be so tricky. Kushina's story starts from that night when she screamed. 07 Soon, Sarutobi Hiruzen told Jiraiya what happened to Kushina and the dire situation Konoha was facing. Boom. A terrible momentum burst out from Jiraiya, and the guardrail in his hand was twisted because he was holding it too hard. Calm down. Feeling Jiraiya's murderous aura, Sarutobi Hiruzen spoke. How can you let me calm down? Minato is missing, and this happened to Kushina. Tell me how I should calm down. Jiraiya gritted his teeth and spoke, his eyes were a little red. Today should have been a happy day. They returned from the front line. However, he heard bad news one after another. How could he calm down? Old man, you are in charge of Konoha, don't you have any clues? Jiraiya stared at Sarutobi Hiruzen. Even though this was his teacher, he couldn't help but get angry. I did neglect my duty about Kushina. I'm sorry for her. But everything happened. What we need now is to make up for it and hold her accountable. Let's talk about it after we solve the current troubles. Sarutobi Hiruzen did not make excuses for his dereliction of duty. Uzumaki Kushina was attacked at night in Konoha village and was pregnant. He did have an unshirkable responsibility. Solve it, how to solve it? Jiraiya's inner anger was really hard to calm down. I know you are angry, but as a ninja, you should know that anger can't solve anything. Calm down, Jiraiya. Sarutobi Hiruzen spoke in a stern voice, finally calming Jiraiya down. We will not let go of anyone who caused Minato to disappear or humiliated Kushina. But the most important thing now is Nine Tails. Jiraiya, you should know what Nine Tails means to Konoha. Once Nine Tails dies and Minato disappears, it will be fine if other villages don't know about it. If they know about it, the war is likely to restart again. Konoha will face the joint attack of 4 or even more hidden villages at the same time. Do you think Konoha can win the war again? Think about Konoha, think about the tens of thousands of ninjas and hundreds of thousands of villagers in this village. Sarutobi Hiruzen's words made Jiraiya completely silent. How terrible is war, how could he not know? Minato's disappearance and Nine Tails' death, if these two news were known by other ninja villages, the possibility of them starting a war again would be really high. How should Konoha respond then? So what do you want me to explain to Kushina? Or what story do you want me to tell? I won't go, you go by yourself, I want to find Minato. Jiraiya spoke in a cold voice. This was not a temper tantrum, but he didn't dare to meet Uzumaki Kushina. After speaking, he turned around and was about to leave. Kushina is in her current situation. She won't believe my words. Once she wants to die, Biwako and the others can't stop her at all. Or do you want me to completely imprison Kushina and completely restrict her actions? Sarutobi Hiruzen's words made Jiraiya stop. He clenched his fists, and the cold wind blew his clothes and his white hair fluttered. I know, I will go to see Kushina. Finally, Jiraiya spoke, his tone was very bitter. Thank you for your hard work. Sarutobi Hiruzen was relieved when he saw Jiraiya agreed. The most important thing now is to stabilize Uzumaki Kushina and then determine the candidates for the new Nine Tails Jinchuriki. By then, even if Uzumaki Kushina wanted to die after knowing Minato's disappearance, she could transfer Nine Tails to a new Jinchuriki. Of course, the best thing is for Kushina to accept the reality and live bravely. Because there is no Nine Tails Jinchuriki more suitable than her. If possible, Sarutobi Hiruzen really doesn't want to change a Jinchuriki. Looking at Jiraiya who left without saying anything, Sarutobi Hiruzen sighed. I hope Jiraiya can stabilize Kushina. Round building. There are still many Anbu members around here, even in the building, there are many Anbu members. In Uzumaki Kushina's room, the sky has dimmed, but there is no light here. Uzumaki Kushina sat on the bed hugging her knees in a daze, her eyes were blank, but her eyes were red and swollen, and the tears on her face were clearly visible. It is said that there is no greater sorrow than a dead heart. Now Uzumaki Kushina is still alive, but she seems to be a walking corpse, without any breath of life. Even when Jiraiya opened the door and came in, Uzumaki Kushina just glanced at him, then retracted his gaze without saying a word and continued to be in a daze. Uzumaki Kushina like this made Jiraiya feel distressed. The corners of his mouth twitched, and he wanted to smile like he did when he saw Minato and Kushina before, but he couldn't smile at all. Kushina, the reason why Minato didn't come to see you is not what you think. Jiraiya opened his mouth, and the word Minato made Uzumaki Kushina turn his head. ITB. Jiraiya was speechless when he said this. He was obviously ready to lie to Uzumaki Kushina, but looking at Uzumaki Kushina's numb look, he suddenly couldn't say those lies. He has not returned from the battlefield. He is still on a mission outside. It is a very important mission, a mission that concerns the survival of Yat. Jiraiya finally lied. He did not have the heart to lie to Uzumaki Kushina, but he did not have the heart to tell the truth to Uzumaki Kushina. That mission will take some time. I know something bad happened to you, but please believe Minato. His feelings for you cannot be worn away by those things. He should know this better than me. After Minato comes back, he will not care what happened to you. He will propose to you. This is what he said to me before entering the battlefield. At that time, he also said that he wanted me to be your witness. Kushina, for Minato, please cheer up. Jiraiya stopped talking because he saw that Uzumaki Kushina was already in tears, her body was shaking because of sobbing, she buried her head in her knees, her red hair hung down, completely blocking her face. I'm sorry Minato, I don't know how to face him, teacher Jiraiya, what should I do? Uzumaki Kushina murmured in a low voice, she couldn't get over this hurdle after all. Chapter 75. Jiraiya left Konoha. On the night he came back, he met Uzumaki Kushina and left to look for the missing Minato. Fortunately, Uzumaki Kushina's emotions were temporarily stable. But what Jiraiya said to her was a lie after all. And lies will be exposed one day. When Uzumaki Kushina knows the truth, I don't know what it will be like. But maybe things will turn around. After all, Kitano Kangetsu has always coveted Uzumaki Kushina. He can't really let Uzumaki Kushina get into trouble. Uchiha clan, Kitano Kangetsu has moved to a new house. After all, he is about to become the clan leader, so it is naturally impossible to live in the previous place. Of course, he is not living in Uchiha Mikoto's house, although it is the most luxurious courtyard of the Uchiha clan, but it is not necessary. Mikoto needs to stay there to take care of the baby. Speaking of this, Kitano Kangetsu has a headache again. How should he tell Uchiha Itachi about his relationship with Mikoto? He couldn't just tell Uchiha 23 Itachi directly, after your father died, I got together with your mother, and your brother and sister are already growing up, and they will meet you in half a year. D. Hojiki Zangetsu sighed, he had to find a way quickly, Mikoto's belly would get bigger and bigger, after all, it couldn't be hidden. However, Hojiki Zangetsu's headache was cured quickly. The next day, Uchiha Mikoto came to Hojiki Zangetsu with a dazed look on his face. Then he told Hojiki Zangetsu that Uchiha Itachi knew about the two of them. This surprised Hojiki Zangetsu. Then he felt that it seemed natural. Although Uchiha Itachi is only 5 years old now, he is really too mature and too careful. In addition, living with Uchiha Mikoto, it is easy to find some clues from some details. Then, based on the clues he found, he guessed the truth. Ah, what do you say? Hoshiki Zangetsu hugged Uchiha Mikoto, looking at the somewhat lost Uchiha Mikoto, feeling a little distressed and curious. Curious about what Uchiha Itachi would say. He said that he supports my decision, and I don't need to worry about him, as long as I am happy. Uchiha Mikoto spoke sadly. Uchiha Itachi's understanding made her feel guilty and distressed. If Uchiha Itachi made a big fuss, perhaps Gakurayabami Mikoto would feel better. Itachi is a very sensible child, I guessed he would say that. Knowing this earlier is not necessarily a bad thing for Itachi. Don't worry, I will slowly open his heart and let him truly accept me. Hoshiki Zangetsu spoke to comfort him, and what Uchiha Mikoto said was similar to what he guessed. Even though Uchiha Itachi was unable to enter the battlefield at the age of 4 to witness life and death and think more because of the killing of Uchiha Fugaku by Hoshiki Zangetsu, Uchiha Itachi's nature, his way of thinking and pattern are still better than ordinary people. Mikoto, I want to marry you. Hoshiki Zangetsu suddenly spoke, causing Uchiha Mikoto's body to freeze. She didn't expect Hoshiki Zangetsu to say this suddenly. The joy in her heart suddenly surged in her heart, but soon, the joy was occupied by worry and fear. No, you can't marry me. This is not good for you, me, and Itachi, and the reputation of the Uchiha clan will also be affected. Uchiha Mikoto spoke in a firm tone. She wanted to marry Hoshiki Zangetsu and be together openly. But obviously not. She was the wife of the former head of the Uchiha clan. Other Uchiha could remarry, but she couldn't. Especially since Hoshiki Zangetsu is her guard and the current head of the Uchiha clan. If the two get married, rumors will probably appear soon. What kind of gossips such as Uchiha Mikoto and the guard are having an affair, the former head of the Uchiha clan was killed by his wife and the guard, the Uchiha clan actually did this, Uchiha Zangetsu became the head of the clan in this way will inevitably spread throughout Konoha. At that time, the Uchiha clan will be humiliated. She and Hoshiki Zangetsu will also be pointed at. And Uchiha Itachi will also be affected. Zangetsu, I know your feelings for me, this is really not okay. Uchiha Mikoto looked at Hoshiki Zangetsu's eyes seriously, which made Hoshiki Zangetsu feel a little guilty. He had already guessed that Uchiha Mikoto would say this. I'm sorry for you. Hoshiki Zangetsu hugged Uchiha Mikoto tighter, as if this would make him feel better. I'm fine, but our child is the one who is wronged. Uchiha Mikoto said in a depressed tone, stroking her belly gently with her hand, with a sad face. We can't be together openly, which means that our child can't let others know who his parents are. Hoshiki Kangyu didn't say anything, but just hugged Uchiha Mikoto tightly. In fact, he had a solution in his mind. But Hoshiki Kangyu was hesitating whether to say it. The solution was also very simple. Let him marry a girl from the Uchiha clan as soon as possible, and then control that girl, let that girl become Uchiha Mikoto, and Uchiha Mikoto become that girl, to replace the pillars with the beams. In this way, the child in Uchiha Mikoto's belly will have parents after it is born. The father is Hoshiki Kangyu. The mother is Uchiha Mikoto who changed her name. Anyway, with Hoshiki Kangyu's ability, it shouldn't be too easy to control an ordinary Uchiha girl. But in this way, Hoshiki Kangyu will become a married woman. It will not be conducive to his strategy for other characters in the future. Therefore, Hoshiki Zangetsu did not tell Uchiha Mikoto this method. There was no way, he didn't want to. Who would want to be a scumbag when they can be a pure person? But if he didn't do this, Hoshiki Zangetsu would not be able to become stronger. If he didn't become stronger, let alone Uchiha Obito and Uchiha Madara, 260 let alone Aoi Satsuki Kagaya. Even if Hoshiki Zangetsu killed Uchiha Obito, prevented Uchiha Madara from resurrecting, and broke Black Zetsu's conspiracy so that Aoi Satsuki Kagaya could not unlock the seal, it would be meaningless. Because for this ninja world, the biggest threat is always Aoi Satsuki Momoshiki, Aoi Satsuki Kinshiki, Aoi Satsuki Urashiki, and others who will come to the ninja world in the future. And Aoi Satsuki is Hiki and his Kara organization hidden in the dark. There is also the Aoi Satsuki clan that has never appeared in the depths of the starry sky. If he cannot become stronger and stronger, facing an opponent of Aoi Satsuki's level, Hoshiki Zangetsu can only wait for death with Mikoto and others. Not to mention Naruto Sasuke Boruto Sarada. Now Naruto's father Namikaze Minato has been killed by Hoshiki Zangetsu. Sasuke's father Uchiha Fugaku has also been killed by Hoshiki Zangetsu. There is no Naruto Sasuke in this world. Not to mention Naruto's son Boruto and Sasuke's daughter Sarada. In this world, there is only Hoshiki Zangetsu. If he can't stand it, the ninja world will suffer. So, for his own life, for the women he likes, for this ninja world, for all humans and all living beings in the ninja world, Hoshiki Zangetsu must bear the pain of selling his conscience, corrupting his soul, and doing things that are not understood, despised, and spurned by ordinary people. Oh, I am so great. Gui Deng Kangyu sighed inwardly. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel so you are notified of future uploads. You can find the next parts in the playlist visible on the screen or on my channel. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.